Hey everybody, it's Tony Schiavone of All Elite Wrestling, and this is True Hill Heat, and I said it right, you motherfuckers.
Yes, we are back, motherfuckers. Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, True Hill Heat 154. We're going to be talking about NXT stars, both on commentary and in the ring, possibly leaving after this Sunday. We're going to be talking about Charlotte Flair and Andrade El Idolo breaking up, splitting up for good. Possibly we'll get into it. We're also going to be preview and predictions for NXT War Games this Sunday, plus much more. We got a very, very special guest, a Degrassi dude, if you will. So, producer, hit the intro. Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for True Hill Heat 154 Mass and Exodus. We are here to discuss the latest wrestling news, including what seems to be a wave of talent leaving NXT following this Sunday, with 2 contracts expiring and a departure from the commentary booth. Charlotte Flair and Andrade El Idolo officially splitting up. Big Swole leaves AEW, and what other contracts are about to be up or have been re-signed. Preview and predictions for NXT War Games and NWA Hard Times 2, plus much more. I am back once again with the beautiful, the lovely Miss Krssi Luv. What's going on?
Good morning. How are you? Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. Can't wait to talk all this shit today. It's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a festive day because I'm in my Christmas sweater. It's December, so I'm wearing Christmas sweaters for the remaining episodes of True Hill Heat, ladies and gentlemen. But we have a very, very special guest I got to introduce to Krssi right before we went live. He is one half of the Degrassi dudes. You know, it's crazy in this world of wrestling media when you meet someone that likes something outside of wrestling just the same as you and marks out for it and can talk about it as much as you do. And that's what I found in this gentleman. He is the Charlie Conway to my Russ Tyler, the Spinner Mason to my Jimmy Brooks. He is one of the best in wrestling media, one of the most knowledgeable when it comes to independent wrestling, the host of the Weekender podcast over on Fightful Wrestling, Stephen Jensen.
Wow, that was a hell of an intro. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. Nice to meet you, Krssi, as we were talking earlier. And SP3, always good to see you, brother. So, yeah, I'm excited to do this. I'm going to tell you all straight up. I told SP3 earlier, I have not seen NXT since the last TakeOver show, but I'm obviously familiar with a lot of the talent on the show. And I'm familiar with the direction of the show. I review 205 Live for Fightful, so there's a bit of overlap with that. So, but it's one of those things where I'm very interested to hear what y'all have to say and what the chat has to say about the show, because I will be watching on Sunday. But as far as, I was there live at AEW this past Wednesday. So, got to see Dynamite live, got to see the Rampage that everyone just saw. So I got plenty to say about that, the releases. So I'm pretty much good on everything outside of the NXT stuff. Because once again, just a bit out of the loop. But I got some definite opinions on the contracts coming up for NXT though, for sure. But once again, thank you all for having me on. I'm happy to get talking about this.
Thanks for joining us, Jensen. Like I said, one of my favorite people in wrestling media. But for anyone who might not know you, didn't see you on, you've been on True Rewind, you've been on our roundtable review. But for anyone who isn't familiar with you, you could tell them a little bit about yourself. What would you say?
I'm a lifelong fan of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts, and I do a lot of stuff over at Fightful.com, so that's kind of like the best place to find me. That, and then I do personal shows with my friend Jesse Davin, who's currently in the hospital. So everyone, send your prayers and well wishes over there to Jesse at Jesse the Buckeye. Say something nice to her today. And I do my show every Tuesday with my buddy Doug, live rounds on the RVD Keto for Life channel. Do video editing for various like MMA, pro wrestling outlets and stuff like that. So I guess in a nutshell, I'm a lifelong fan that has kind of over time worked themselves into the ecosystem of I wouldn't call myself like professional anything, but like I do mostly this stuff throughout my day at this point. So basically just a fan like everyone else. And you can listen to my stuff on Fightful and kind of all over YouTube and stuff.
He's doing great work. I'm glad to have Jensen here with us. I don't know if you're a fan of Degrassi, Miss Krssi Luv, but we do a podcast every Friday morning on both of our Twitter pages, as well as his Twitch channel for Degrassi Dudes, where we go back in time and we watch old episodes of Degrassi.
Oh, really?
Whatever.
So check it out. Whatever it takes, ladies and gentlemen. But so I'm very happy to have Jensen here with us. Very happy to have all of you here live with us. Remember to drop a thumbs up on this video. It helps out the video a lot, helps out the channel. Share it with your friends. Of course, if you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified. You can become an even bigger supporter by supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month for more exclusive content, including the True Hill Heat post show, which will be up later on tonight. And of course, this True Hill Heat episode is brought to you by our friends over at Warrior Wrestling and Powered 4 TV. The first month of Powered 4 TV, you can get 1 month off by using the promo code HEAT. True Hill Heat is here for you. And True Hill Roll Call is how we start off every episode of True Hill Heat, our weekly flagship podcast. Our True Hill Roll Call starts off with our top 3 conversation starters on the True Hills group page. Coming in at number 3 is Austin Hartsfield Brown. Coming in at number 2 is Dennis Smith. And coming in at number 1 is, as usual, Miss Krssi Luv. One guess?
The Negro Buck.
Of course, Nick Jackson coming in at number 1 once again. And got to shout out our Patreons over on patreon.com/True Hill Heat. Alex McCarthy is one of our Patreon supporters. Alan Weinstein, I already see him in the chat. Professor Chris Ely, Robert Haynes, Austin K, Sammy Joe, Hard Work Bearcat Blue, Steve Salvage, Antoine Rutledge, and Yadi. So thank you to all our Patreon backers. Remember, you can support us over there as well. And of course, you can put your thoughts in the live chat. Anything that you think about the latest wrestling news, let us know in the live chat. Super chat donations are always encouraged and appreciated. And make sure we highlight your comment. Some of our favorites already in the live chat with us. 5th Generation Carney saying, hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're doing well, good brothers, and thank you once again for being the welcome mat of Minneapolis and welcome me over there during Full Gear Weekend. Appreciate that. Bills Mafia STF saying good morning, everyone. 3 of my faves. Thank you so much. We got Jason Michael Campbell with us saying excited for War Games tomorrow night. We also got Alan Weinstein here with us in the live chat saying happy Saturday morning, SP3, Miss Krssi, and Steven. Thanks to True Hill Heat for always holding down. Happy holiday season, y'all. We appreciate True Hill Heat, and we appreciate you. Those are very kind words, Alan. Always here with us, and always appreciate your support. So let's get into things, Steven, Krssi, and let's go into what we missed, which of course starts off with last night. Friday Night Wrestling, AEW Rampage had FTR defeating Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo in a fun tag team main event. Thanks to Malachi Black getting involved and spitting the poison mist into Pac's eyes. You also had Sammy Guevara beat Tony Nese to retain the TNT Championship in an awesome opener. Love that match. Love the selling by Sammy of the DDP style ribs gimmick that he keeps doing. Jade Cargill defeated Janaya Kai and got into a brawl with Thunder Rosa to hype up their TBS Women's Championship tournament, and an excellent vignette to hype up John Silver versus Bryan Danielson on AEW Dynamite this Wednesday. Jensen, what stood out the most for you on Rampage, and what would you say was the match of the night?
So for me, for Rampage, it would be Nese and Guevara, and being there live, it's tough on the crowd because like at that point you're like 4 hours in on the show. So like And now I know it's nothing compared to what it was like pre how they tape now. Cause I know for a while there, they were doing like 7 hours and people were getting like 30 matches. And like, I mean, crowd fatigue is real. Although I will say the matches they put on for Rampage were really good. And the crowd was still into it, but it was one of those things where like I felt a little bit of drop off in energy after Jade's entrance, to be honest, because the fans were really into Jade coming out for her match. And as we'll talk, it was very quick. Then after that, I think it was just kind of like, all right, it's almost like it's like 11:30 midnight coming up and people are like getting ready to get out of there. But then the tag team match was really good as well. So it's like, I as a wrestling fan, everything was done really well. But I think the crowd was like the hottest for Sammy and Nice. And I think that match really delivered. It did really good showcasing Nice to the AEW audience that maybe didn't watch him a whole lot in 205 Live. And it just keeps establishing Sammy as a really credible TNT champion. And as you mentioned, SP3, I love the DDP ribs tape. I mean, that's like a classic look. Every time I think about Diamond Dallas Page, I think about him with the ribs tape. So yeah, for me, the match of the night was Sammy and Nice. What about y'all?
And I love the fact with the ribs that it makes the Minneapolis street fight matter. And that was the match that I was like least interested into at Full Gear, but it's the one of the matches that we had the most consequences from because Sammy is still selling the ribs. What stood out for you, Krssi Luv, and what did you think about the quick victory for Jade Cargill as she gets ready for Thunder Rosa in the TBS tournament?
What he realized when he seen Rampage and Dynamite when they were in Queens, and it was like after a while, it's like, I'm tired, man. It's like we're not getting home till like after 11, and we didn't finish tapes. I think it was like 12:30. So yeah, that is real. That is like after a while, you're like, okay, let me stay up. I gotta get home, things like that. But I enjoyed the opener, and I liked the last match as well. I was upset that Jade had like 2 seconds because the girl really couldn't showcase herself, and it was her debut. But I guess that's what happens when you're gonna job to someone as big as Jade. But I'm excited to see her in Thunder Rosa. They had a couple of little bumps that was a little wonky, but overall, I'm sure it probably looks different when you are on in person more than on TV itself. But I'm excited to see them. She was good on the mic, for commentator, with what's his name? What's the guy that has the FTR? Not FTR, but what's his belt? With he's in Team Tag.
Oh, the FTW title, Ricky Starks.
There you go, that one.
Yeah,
he was like them two going back and forth was classic. So I really enjoyed Rampage.
Yeah. Thunder Rosa was coming off like the spicy Spanish auntie who smacked you across the head for talking back to her. I was very much happy. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I was very much happy to have Thunder Rosa on my TV on a Friday night, and I'm looking forward to her and Jade Cargill. But Jensen, like you said, you were there live in Atlanta for Rampage and Dynamite. What would be like the one takeaway that you would say that you got from actually being there live that might have not gone across on either Dynamite or Rampage during the taping?
Dude, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
So the crowd response to some of the stuff, because I went back and watched some of it on TV the next day, and we were a lot louder in person for a lot of the stuff than how it came across on TV. Like, for instance, when Sting came out for his match, him and Darby, like the place was going nuts because like Sting, that's Atlanta's Sting country, you know what I mean? So it's like we got the roots with him in WCW, like all the years back. So it's like it was cool to see that. Something that's really interesting that I think people need to take into account when they think about Cody Rhodes, because I'm a huge Cody fan. Most people know, and I'll just say it for everyone listening here. I went to high school with Cody, so like I have I watched him from high school wrestling through OVW, through WWE, through now. So it's like I'm a biased Cody Rhodes fan, like admittedly, but live. So you have to take into a few factors with this past week. It's in Atlanta. Cody's from Atlanta. So there's going to be a percentage of the crowd that's going to really cheer him no matter what. And then you have the crowd that's kind of like the cool thing to cheer Cody crowd. Boo Cody crowd. Yeah. And what I was hearing a lot of in the crowd, and I encourage people like go live to listen for this.
Okay.
Before Cody came out for his match, a lot of people in the crowd were asking the other people they're with, should we cheer or boo Cody? Like it wasn't like it wasn't like a visceral like here he comes, boo. It was like, hey, we cheering a boo, we cheering a boo, and then it was like, let's boo, boo. Like
so it's conflicted.
It is. It's kind of
it's on the site judgment. Like, should we book? Should we not?
Yeah, that's how it was for a lot of the crowd, and it's one of those things where it's like by the end of the night, because I know that it cut off not long after Cody did the spot into the table, the flaming table, and all that, which was incredible live, by the way. I know it came across well on TV, but it's one of these things where like after that, the crowd was massively cheering Cody, and like it didn't come across as well on TV. And then when the show went off the air, he's doing his speech to the crowd. You know, it's the best thing ever for me to be able to wrestle in front of my home crowd, blah, blah, blah. And the place is going nuts. Like not one boo after what we had just seen. And they're going nuts. But the one thing I tweeted out from the show was that I thought was interesting that wasn't on TV was after the match, after Cody's speech, everyone's going crazy, just cheer, 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 cheer. Everyone's standing and, you know, going nuts. And he takes the golden shovel with him and walks it backstage. And I was like, oh, he's gonna keep using this golden shovel thing.
Yes.
He's gonna be playing this. I think he is masterfully playing the in between, like the kind of like early 2000s John Cena role of like, I'm gonna give people a reason to boo me a little bit. The people that want to boo, I'm gonna give them some reasons to boo me. But like the people that like me, I'm gonna give them a lot of reasons to cheer me. So it's gonna be a mixed bag until he kind of decides what to do. So I'd say I'd say those things. I'd also say that Jade, she's from Atlanta. I've run into her in person here in Atlanta before. I actually was looking for AEW action figures the other week and ran into an actual AEW wrestler, which I thought was like the coolest thing ever. But I think like Jade, she was very over too. Like her entrance, people were going pretty nuts, and I think she's going to be a massive star. Like I've been on Jade Cargill's bandwagon pretty much since day one, just based off of her look and her athleticism. You can tell she's learning fast. It's one of those things. It's like there's a lot of people that she isn't ready and she's green. The whole reason I think she's getting this big push is like because this way, if she becomes the TBS champion, she doesn't have to lose to Britt Baker and vice versa. You can keep both of them very strong and have Jade continue to learn in like in a prime position, be like the focus of an entire TV show potentially, and become a big star. So those are kind of my biggest takeaways. There's other stuff I'm sure I'll think of like as we're talking, but I'd say like the overness of Sting didn't come across as much as it was. The indecisiveness about whether or not to cheer Cody before the match was really interesting to me. And then Jade got a big reception for her entrance on Rampage.
Very, very interesting notes from the live expert here, Stephen Jensen. And since you already brought up Dynamite, let's get into that. AEW Dynamite, they did their lowest rating since May with 861,000 viewers. Like Jensen just mentioned, Cody Rhodes defeated Andrade El Idolo to win the Atlanta street fight with an avalanche reverse suplex through a flaming table. Look at that visual right there. Oh my God. And that was set on fire by none other than his wife, Brandy Rhodes. Bryan Danielson beat Allen 5 Angels and challenged John Silver to face him in his hometown of Long Island next week. AEW also announced Danielson and Hangman at Winter is Coming on December 15th in 2 weeks. CM Punk defeated Lee Moriarty in what I thought was a brilliant contest with MJF on commentary. After the match, we got another quality promo exchange, not as good as the first one, but still good, with MJF saying that he would put Punk's dog Larry to sleep. Miss Krssi Luv, what was your favorite part of AEW? We should also mention Ruby Soho defeating Chris Statlander to advance in the TBS Women's Championship tournament as well. But Krssi, what was your highlight from Dynamite this week?
The fact that those two men put themselves through a burning table and Brandy set it on fire. Because I'm like, I turned my head like for a split second. I swear, I went to go get something. And then I seen Brandy just like pouring gasoline on the table. I'm like, wait, where the heck did she come from? But oh my, wow. Oh, yes. Look at that. Look at that.
Of the table, ladies and gentlemen, that black stuff. And it was pretty obvious that Cody had something on his back to prepare for it.
Yes.
It wasn't obvious when you first saw it. I just thought, oh my God. I just thought he had a very bad sunburn. at the beginning of the matchup. I just thought he had a very bad sunburn, but apparently it was like flame retarded stuff that he had on his back for the spot.
To protect his skin. Okay, that makes sense now.
It didn't wind up really working, or at least at least imagine if he didn't have that on, what it would have looked like, because he was literally rolling around the ring on fire.
Yes. You saw like little specks on it, but on both of them actually, they both had like little specks of the fire still on them. I'm surprised the referee couldn't see it.
When Cody was pinning Andrade, part of it fell off of him onto Andrade's chest. And Andrade tried to like beat it off.
Andrade tried to like pat him off as he's getting pinned. Like, it was ridiculous. I was like, yo, he was like, how am I gonna top the last time we were in Atlanta when I did the moonsault off the huge cage? Flaming table.
And it was amazing to see. I'm like, I know they're not really about to do this. And they did it. And then, like you said, that visual, that picture y'all posted up is just like, whoever's that screenshot is just magnificent, like in air, like just spot on. But I'm sure it was like even better seeing it in person, because TV was just like amazing. So I know in person was just like, wow.
It was pretty nuts. Like, and it's one of those things too, where, Brandy slides into the ring. I don't know why she would need to be disguised, by the way. Like, she runs.
I don't know either.
But when she came into the ring and she like took the mask off, the immediate reaction from everyone just boo, like, including myself, because I'm a huge Cody mark, but I'm not a Brandy fan. So like, I'm really torn on them on screen. But when Brandy whipped out the lighter fluid, everyone turned it around. Yeah, Brandy's here. Yeah. But in person, that's such a crazy visual, because you can feel the heat of the fire from like the similar to like when you go and like there's like pyro for an entrance pretty far away, but you can still kind of feel it. It was like that, and like I didn't know if, I'm not blaming Brandy or anything, by the way, for any of this, but it was like she doused that thing with fluid.
I think she put too much. Yeah.
She might have, and that flame got really high. So like, I could see where I was sitting from. That flame was almost like the same height at one point as them on the turnbuckles, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna like, because you could tell Cody was gonna do the like the reverse suplex off the top, and Cody took pretty much the entire thing. Like, Andrade came down kind of face first, but like he landed on his feet and like rolled backwards. Cody just flat back straight into it and just laid there for a second. And that's another thing too. Love him or hate him, whatever you want to say about Cody, I get all the difference in opinions on him. I totally get every side of the whole thing. But like, when he does something like that, at least respect the guy for like going out there and trying to like do something that's like rememberable, and like, even with like the flame retarded preparation they had for him, like it clearly didn't do a whole lot, because he like legitimately was rolling around on fire. Like that was unreal seeing that live. And I'm glad that it came across well on TV, because when I checked Twitter, it was just nonstop about Cody going through I was like, all right. But yeah, so as you're saying, Krssi, being there live, it was pretty wild. It was a pretty wild scene. And once again, very decisive. Just a whole bunch of people that didn't know whether to cheer or boo. But at the end of the day, like, they're all making noise. And that, I think, is like the most important thing at the end of the day. Right. And you'd say the same thing about Cena back in the day. It's like, at least people care. Like, they're invested enough to be involved in the show when they're on there. And I think that I think it accomplished a lot, seeing what they did on Wednesday.
I think the key with Cody right now, why I think he's doing this character very, very well, is he's not playing John Cena during the period of 2005 through 2015, pretty much. He's playing a specific John Cena. He's playing John Cena against Rob Van Dam at One Night Stand 2006. He's playing John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. He knows he's going to get the boos, and he's doing things to get more of them. But he's not totally basically shunning the fans and shunning the fans that do want to share him. So I like what he's doing right now. It's been established on this show that I'm not the biggest Cody fan, because he flipped me off at a Ring of Honor event back in 2017, and I've held it against him ever since. I went back on it at All In. I forgave him, but then I came back on it when the Cody hate started this year, because I was like, oh, this is a familiar vibe. I liked it.
Man, if you better never meet MJF in person, then man, because you will never cheer him if that's how you feel about these guys. Like MJF, the first time I met, because MJF's like my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
And the first time I met him, I didn't know that he stayed in character. And this is like 4 or 5 years ago. He was like 1 year into the business, and I went to shake his hand after a show, and no one was around. Like no one could have ever seen this. And he told me to go F myself right to my face, with my hand out. And I was like, what? And like I went like to like leave, and then I saw him doing it to other people like when I was leaving, and then it clicked, and I was like, this guy's the best wrestler on the indies. Like, this guy's like actually staying in character. I'm not used to seeing this because on the indies, especially normally, because you get to meet, they're so accessible. Like at the intermissions, you can walk up and talk to them after the shows. They want to do podcasts and stuff, and like, and everyone, even there's a guy like AC Mack here in the South, pretty big on the indies, and he's like one of the worst heels in the game. But like when you meet him in person, he's the nicest guy in the world. Like that's how most of them are. Yeah. MJF does not care. Like MJF will he'll make you pay for an autograph 8x10 and then have Wardlow sign it right in front of your face and hand it to you. Like he won't even sign it himself. Yeah, but it's so funny. Like, as long as you can take it as like, being a fan and like accepting it for like and accept it for what he's doing. But at the same time, like you were saying, SP3, I was like, I don't know if you've met MJF or not, but like, don't take that to heart. Still root for the dude because I think what he's doing is incredible. Someone in the chat mentioned it. I was raised Jewish, and I love the Hanukkah suit he's wearing. It's so
yes, that was amazing.
It's so funny. The guy's the man. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Yes, happy Hanukkah to everyone. We got a couple of comments here. We got, I love it. We got Alan Weinstein saying Rampage was good. Some people are being hard on Sammy's title reign, but I really liked Sammy versus Tony. I think Sammy Guevara's title reign's been going well so far. I think they're going back to more of the Cody original run where he's doing more of like the open challenges. I don't know about you guys. What about you, Miss Krssi Luv?
I like it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. We need a baby face that can like do these things right now. So I don't think his run is bad at all. I think it is good. So I hope we can see him do more open challenges and give other guys more ways to showcase themselves, especially like that not mid card, but those guys in his like weight range or whatever. Those like not cruiserweights. I don't want to use that word.
Well, like the Tony Nese's of the world, the Bobby Fish, the Jay Lethals, the guys that he's versed that might not get a lot of opportunities on Dynamite and Rampage regularly.
Right, exactly. So have them do these opening matches, or even like he closed out one. What it was, a Dynamite, I believe.
Yeah, the match with Lethal.
I think this is actually really good for these guys to like be showcased and like do like crazy pop off moves off the ropes and everything like that. I'm loving it, and I love that he keeps wearing the Diamond Dallas Page tape around his ribs.
Absolutely. Bill's Mafia SDF says, so happy for Nese to turn some heads. Nese worked his ass off in 205 for nothing, basically. Jensen, what would be your like best memories or best matches that you've seen from Nese over on 205?
So it's pinpoint specific matches is tough. I'd have to think about that. But like towards the end of his run, they were having really good. It was like, so Tony Nese and Ari Daivari, I think were like the backbones of 205 Live for like a while. They were the guys who were just kind of always put there, but they were more so, they always kept like an upper tier spot there, almost kind of like they were gatekeepers of the brand. I know Nese was the champion at one point, but that was like a while back. And it's unfortunate because that's we can have a whole podcast on just kind of 205 Live and like kind of almost like the death sentence that it's become, because like all these guys and all these wrestlers I like, because but my point to answer your question though, SP3 would be, I really like the stuff they were doing towards the end of Nese's run, where it was Nese and Daivari wrestling guys like Anthony Henry and Alex Zane, like that kind of stuff, where they're really helping put over the next generation of wrestlers. Unfortunately, all those wrestlers pretty much got released. So like, but I think that Nese and Daivari, honestly, I'd like to see them tag more. They are a really, really good tag team. And I think that but they're versatile. And I think this is like one of the best compliments I can give to a tag team is when both guys are great in the team, but they're equally as good separately. So you can do a lot there. Like you can have individual singles runs, but also go back to the tag team when you want to go for tag titles. We don't have to like turn on each other. You just have an allegiance with someone else that you team well with. So like I'd say that my fondest memories of Nice would probably be, you know, his cruiserweight title run. But then like the more recent would be kind of his tag team stuff with Daivari, especially against the younger guys like the former Ari Sterling and Asher Hale that are, you know, Anthony Henry and Alex Zane.
Yeah, I liked his stuff when he was had his little partnership with Buddy Murphy on 205 Live, and his I think he had a really good matchup with Mustafa Ali over on 205 Live as well. So Tony Nese, yeah, he's a guy that he definitely showed a lot in that matchup with Sammy Guevara on Rampage this week. We got Frantic World here with us saying that street fight was crazy and good. Definitely agree there. Dion Chua saying not the dog. Yes. What do you think, Krssi, about there's certain fans that are saying that CM Punk and MJF, yes, the first week was good, but they're already over a lot of the elements. There's been some chatter and discourse on social media of certain fans that says that the MJF style of the low-hanging fruit is not as good as Punk's exchanges with Eddie Kingston. What do you think?
You can't make everyone happy. Everyone is not going to be excited. Like, you know, everyone has to nitpick at something. You can't, we've never had anything where it was like everyone was all on the same accord. Everyone is all on the same page. So it's like, damn if you do and damn if you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, one week was like fire. I'm not, you know, the next week was good. We're not going to have like fire things every week. Like, let it build up. Like, give us something. Like, we're not going to have everything to be exciting from the first day on and on and on. Because then it's like, okay, we've excited now. When the match comes, it's like, all right, now it's like it's the promos and the confrontation back and forth made it hyper than the match, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Nah, I understand.
So you can't make everyone happy. Like, okay, it's just only the second week. Like, you know, give it time. Like, we want to have this build up to be excited for this big match that they're going to have, which they're going to, you know, I hope that they kill. So, you know, of course, everyone is going to chatter. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't like it. Like, you're not going to have someone that be like, everyone's not going to be happy. Like, look how like, they don't even know what to do with Cody. You know, same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're completely right about that. Like, because that's the thing. In when it comes to AEW, you can unironically say let it play out because they actually have like payoffs to all of this stuff. Like, and when you say it about the WWE, it's like people, you know, it's like people think you're, you know, talking trash because it's like let it play out, and then like that person's not even on the show 2 months from the time you say it.
Right.
So it's you know, so it's like but like in AEW you can let it play out, and that's what I'm doing with MJF and Punk. Like, and like you just said, Krssi, like you can't expect people to, like, that's like expecting a baseball player to hit a home run every time that they bat. Like, you know, well, they hit a triple, but it wasn't a home run. It's like, right, a triple. Like, you know, like, so you know, I don't know if they can top 2 weeks ago on promos. That was one of the best like 20-minute segments of like non-wrestling wrestling I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the big takeaway for that for me was I went into that promo with the kind of the opposite mindset I think most fans had. Because I think most fans watching that were going into it going, can MJF hang with Punk on the mic? And I was going into going, can Punk hang with MJF on the mic?
I was too. I was too. And it wasn't until like the first couple of lines, I felt like this was the first time that we felt like MJF knew he was in a big moment. Because he didn't feel as confident as he usually does in those type of situations against Punk. But I totally agree with you. I went in with the mind state, can Punk still live up to that, to his old past, and live up to what MJF's going to do?
Yeah, because there's so many elements of truth in the stuff they're saying. Like MJF having, like, growing up with CM Punk posters on his wall in his bedroom, and like, the picture that's viral of the two of them together in an autograph signing when MJF's a little kid. And of course, you know, I'm a huge fan of MMA. And so like, I've been very critical about CM Punk's UFC run. And I've been waiting for somebody to bring that up because, like, we're watching this show where, like, Dan Lambert and American Top Team are bringing in, like, Andre Arlovsky and Junior Dos Santos and Jorge Masvidal. And, like, you got guys like Jake Hager and Wardlow doing these, like, MMA, like, that cage match thing they did. And it's, like, there's, like, all these MMA elements. Paige Van Zandt's been getting really over and this stuff. But they don't talk about Punk. And it's like the reason they don't is because his UFC run was like so embarrassing that they can't. Yeah. They want CM Punk to come across as a badass, but if they're referring to his UFC run and people go look into that, they're just going to see him getting just destroyed by these guys. One of the guys that beat him in a fight, I have to make this really clear. The second guy CM Punk fought in the UFC was a guy they had to go find outside of the company who had lost the original fight to fight CM Punk. The guy was like basically a journalist and photographer with like very little training, and he was still so much better than CM Punk. He held him down in the octagon and tickled him. I'm not even kidding. Like it was it was like the second worst fighter of all time, completely destroyed him. But the reason I bring this up though is because, like, as a fan that saw all this, you know, I'm sitting here watching the show and like Punk's on commentary for Rampage talking about people that aren't defending rear naked chokes and stuff, and I'm like, dude, you can't defend a rear naked choke. Like, I think it's like it's weird hearing. So for MJF to finally be like, you know, this is going to be more embarrassing than the UFC career, whatever he said, I was like, thank you. Like, somebody, like, if anyone was going to say it, MJF did. And CM Punk's always going to have the trump card of, you know, well, I fought people for real. What about you? You know what I mean? Because he got some big balls to fight in the UFC. I'm never going to take away like the respect I have for him doing it. It's just the actual performance was what we
it wasn't on par. Yeah.
Right. Like would he kick my ass? Absolutely. Like, I'm not talking trash about it. I'm just saying, like, it is what it is. And as a fan of both, the fact that no one has mentioned this yet until MJF, I was waiting for someone to do it, and he finally did. So that back and forth, I thought there were just so many good elements to that. And you just can't do that every week. It's just impossible to go out there and have that every single week. Now, there were people out there that were like, are they going too far by mentioning the dog and all this stuff? And it's like, is it a little weird and uncomfortable hearing that stuff? Sure. But like, I also lived through the Attitude Era where they were feeding dogs to their rivals.
Actually fed a dog to the owner. Like, I'm sorry. I have my threshold for this type of stuff is very, very high.
They're very hypocritical. Very hypocritical. You can't say, oh, you can't do it now when they did it like how many years ago? Like, stop it.
It's the same people that say they want the Attitude Era back all the time.
Right.
It's what's happening right now in the world. Like, everyone is just like we have to walk on eggshells, and we got to just like watch what we say about things and people's feelings and shit like that. So that's just where that all stems from.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you're going to be that sensitive about that type of stuff, wrestling might not be for you, because like you want characters like MJF on the show. Like you want villains out there that like actually generate legitimate heat. Like, you know, because then that's when people go buy tickets to either cheer to see the dude win or cheer to see the dude get his ass kicked. I mean, and CM Punk is such a perfect matchup because of all the things we've already said. And then on top of it, the match itself is definitely gonna deliver. Like, we have a really great match to look forward to. So, and then there's also a lot of doubt of like who's gonna win, which I love in wrestling too. Like, when I go into something really not knowing who's gonna win, but being totally cool with either outcome because I'm a fan of both people. So like, you know, I think this has all been set up great. Was last week's promo as good as the previous week? No, it wasn't. But we also have plenty of time to like keep, you know, putting this into the next level before they actually wrestle. So yeah,
and
I'm a fan.
The story they're trying to tell in the ring this week helped out Lee Moriarty. He got to have a star-making performance. That near fall on the twist was I bid on that because I popped because I got to interview Lee Moriarty, so I know how big of a fan he is of CM Punk. So I know that was a dream come true for him. So I was very happy to see that performance for him. So
I think anyone is just excited to just be in the ring with CM Punk, because I'm sure everyone in that locker room has like watched him. So like to even just have like a few seconds with him is just like, oh my God, I just got to speak to him. You know, it's like I think it's just like that. It's just like teaching moments like that. Like, you know, who would have thought that young man would have been like, yo, one of the guys I grew up on, I get to now be in the ring when he gets to help me, you know, be better.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Like, sign me up. Like, come on.
100%. And I think it's cool that the story they're telling, because there's a portion of the fan base, and honestly, I think a lot of the people that say what I'm about to say really don't really follow AEW weekly. They might just tune in occasionally, or maybe only since guys like Punk and Danielson came over, so their perspectives just different.
Yes.
So they see Punk and they're like, man, he looks out of shape. They're talking about how gassed he is. Like, that's the story. The story of this whole thing is CM Punk hasn't wrestled in 7 years, and he's going in there and barely beating these new wrestlers. And eventually one of these guys is going to get him. And will it be MJF? Maybe. But could it potentially be like, a Wardlow or like a Ricky Starks or like somebody who like is up and coming? Because and the thing with Lee Moriarty is I'm a massive fan of his. I love his independent run. And he does the Pepsi twist regularly in his moveset. So it's something where like he didn't just steal CM Punk's move in this match. Like that was almost like CM Punk handing the move to him. I felt like ooh, you countered me and you hit me with my own move. Like you can use that from now on.
You got it. I mean? You got it.
Yeah. So that was a great match. And there was people in the crowd around me that there was a few people that knew Lee, but not a whole lot. But by the end of the match, everyone was like, Lee. Like everyone was like, oh, we got like they were all ready to see him again. You know what I mean? So
nice.
So yeah, it accomplished everything it needed to. Like it helped. AEW is fantastic about getting people over even when they're losing. And that's that's a good example of it.
And the 4 pillars are another example. Well, except for MJF, but all the other pillars took major losses in the first year before they started getting their push. So it's something that everybody has to go through.
Exactly.
In AEW. We got a comment here from Alan Weinstein saying MJF's suit was the MVP of Dynamite. My big Jew heart was warm and full. 2 Jews both repping being Jews.
Dude, I'll say it. As a member of the tribe, MJF is King Jew currently. So he is definitely growing up, all we really growing up when I was young, all we had was Barry Horowitz, who was just the perennial jobber, the guy who went out with the Star of David on who came out to just they made him like just the stereotypical like Jew, but he couldn't wrestle and he always lost. So then when I got older, we had Bill Goldberg, and it was like, here we go, our time's finally coming. Like we got a dude who never loses. But he like wasn't good in the ring, and like eventually that kind of caught up to him. Yeah. Now it's like MJF's like 24 years old, and he's already incredible, and he's still probably like 3 or 4 years away from even being in his prime for real. Yes. Like that's like, I know he's like this dastardly heel that like you shouldn't look up to from like a character sense. But if you're a fan and you're Jewish and you want some Jewish representation, like we're gonna have a lot of it because MJF's gonna be a main event level guy for like the next decade plus probably. So like I'm very happy to have MJF representing us, even though he's such a piece of trash on the TV screen and outside of it, unfortunately. But
see, MJF represents Alan, represents Jensen, represents me and Krssi being a New Yorker. See, MJF is for the people. He is for the people. We got a question here for Krssi Luv. Does Brandy's new arson persona give us new storylines for the reality show? Because Jensen, if you haven't been aware, on True Hill Heat over the last couple of weeks, we've been pitching TV shows for different networks. So we came up with Married to Wrestling, a reality show based on Wrestling Wives. It's starring Rebby Hardy, Randy Orton's wife Kim Orton, as well as Brandy Rhodes and a few others. We're going to take her away from Rhodes to the Top. So does the new arson gimmick join the reality show, Krssi?
I think it would be great to show on the show with the girls. They could talk about it at like, one of the birthday parties or at like lunch. Like, hey girl, I seen you on TV with the how did it feel? Was it really, really hot? Does it seem like it was? I can see that at the brunch table when they're all out at brunch, you know what I'm saying? So I can definitely see this being a part of one of the storylines. So we can put that in the show for sure.
Very Very nice, very nice. My favorite one that we came up with, Jensen, though, I don't know if you know Jarrett Bailey.
Yeah, sure.
So we came up with a new teen soap opera. It's called Hooked on Love, starring Hook, starring Jarrett Bailey in a love triangle with it's a love rectangle with two other females. But first it starts off as a love triangle, then another bad girl comes into it and seduces Jarrett Bailey because he's the good guy. Hook's the bad boy.
Hook is the bad one, yep.
So Jarrett has to be the good guy.
Which is
that'd
Tyler.
be tough, man. Like, you got to compete with Hook out there in the world. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be. Hook just stands around looking all tough with his arms crossed, and chicks just
right,
and he's just eating his chips, his chips, and his wife beater.
Yeah, now Dante Martin's dipping his hand in that chip bag. Romeo, I like that. He asked if Mount Rushmore of wrestling Jews. That's a great question.
Yes. We got to go to Jensen on this one.
I'd have to really think about it, but like MJF's already there for me. Like, I'm such a but also keep in mind, I watched him for like 4 years pre AEW too. So like by the time he got an AEW, I was already a fan. Bill Goldberg, you have to put on there. I feel like you got to put Barry Horowitz, even though, like I said, like he was a jobber, but like he probably should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, to be honest. Like, because he's so memorable.
He should.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's probably the second most memorable jobber outside of like the Brooklyn Brawler and Heath Slater.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And then I think Randy Savage was Jewish, but he wasn't like a Jewish character of any kind, if that makes sense.
I would say Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana is definitely in that conversation, especially if you narrow it to indie wrestling. He's definitely like the top. Like in like the history of independent wrestling for sure.
Wow.
But yeah, that's who I'd kind of go. I mean, Randy Savage is one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time, like in history. And I think he was Jewish, so I got to put him on there for sure. But yeah, I guess I'd go. Man, maybe I'd go Cabana over Horowitz. Maybe, I don't know. I definitely have MJF, Goldberg, and Savage. Oh, I'm sorry, Paul Heyman. Romeo put that. Of course, Paul Heyman. Yeah, you got to put Paul Heyman on there.
There you go.
So that'd be my 4. MJF, Goldberg, Heyman, Savage.
This is amazing.
You're learning all this today, Krssi.
This is amazing. This is wow. I love this.
We got one last comment here from Tope Suicida, who says MJF is frustrating for me because I think he believes he needs to do the low-hanging fruit stuff in order to keep heat when the audience is smart enough that they'll still boo the better heel act. So what do you think about that? I mean, I do think that he does do it a lot and more than he needs to because he is that good. He doesn't need to do the low-hanging fruit as often as he does. So I can understand where Tope Suicida is coming from.
Yeah, I think part of it's calculated on his part, though. Like, I think he knows when things are going to come across as annoying. You know what I mean? Like, I think he does certain things. Like, he knows it's low hanging fruit, and he knows people are going to be like, "That's not that good." But like, he does it because like it gets on people's skin. You know, like because we're dealing with a lifelong wrestling fan. I'm sure everyone's seen the Rosie O'Donnell thing when he's sitting there going, "Goldberg and The Rock," his favorite wrestlers.
Goldberg and The Rock. Yeah. By the way, you should hear Max Caster's song where he samples MJF singing. You Are My Sunshine.
Wow, I bet that's great.
At his concert in Minneapolis, he did it. I was like, this is awesome.
They were over too on this. They were on Dark Elevation on Wednesday, and the Acclaim over big time. But yeah. So yeah, I guess just at the end of the day, MJF, he goes for low hanging fruit, but like. That's part of him being a heel, I think, at the end of the day. Like, I think he knows when things are going to be lame. I think he knows when things are going to really hit. I know when he knows when it's going to cut deep on people. And he just kind of picks and chooses where he's going to kind of what spots he's going to hit, I feel like.
I agree with you there. We got a super chat donation here from the Negro Bug, Nick Jackson, saying, quick run in from work. Much love, Sid and Krssi. Much love to you, Nick.
Hello.
Nick and
Happy
Top Guy
holidays.
JJ. Been having to work lately on a Saturday. We've missed you guys.
Yes. I'm about to say this is between last weekend and this weekend. This is Top Guy JJ's weekends for the holidays, man.
Absolutely, about to make that money. I'm about to call them up, get my family some gifts.
Yeah, man.
But yes, we got to talk about what else we missed this week. Yes, that means we got to talk about WWE, folks. SmackDown was SmackDown was last night. You had Brock Lesnar making his return, and he persuaded Sami Zayn to cash in his Universal Championship title shot on the show instead of at day one in a very entertaining opening segment, in my opinion.
Yes.
Brock then beat down Zayn, helping Roman win later on in the night. Roman beat Sami Zayn in 18 seconds. Yes, the final 30. The final 30.
Sami
The
Zayn
final
is so much
30
better than
minutes.
this.
The final 30 minutes of SmackDown had 18 seconds of professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. And we did a tally, me, Rick Ucchino, and Dutch Mantel. SmackDown had 16 minutes of total wrestling action on 85 minutes of on-air television without
Are you
commercials.
serious?
Yes, it did. Kofi Kingston also made his return, and New Day challenged the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles at day one.
Again? Oh, come on, guys.
You also had
Sorry.
you also had Sasha Banks defeat Shayna Baszler in a very good opener. You also had Toni Storm got revenge on Charlotte Flair for pieing her by pieing her in the face. Yes, pies are over in 2021, and Naomi will finally get her match with Sonya Deville next week on SmackDown. Miss Krssi Luv.
Something. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Miss Krssi Luv, what did you think about the whole Brock Lesnar angle leading to Sami Zayn losing in 18 seconds, which popped Stephen Jensen?
Zayn is so much.
Well,
Sami Zayn is so much better than this.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you can go. Go ahead. It's fine.
I was just saying I was laughing so hard because I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown all year. So when you just said that, I was like, oh, that's what happened last night. That's like I watched GCW and something on IWTV last night. Like I watched 2 wrestling shows and caught up on Rampage that I've already seen. Completely forgot SmackDown even happened. That's how disconnected I am off that product. So like when you just said that, I was like, wait, last night Sami Zayn got beaten 18. So oh man, that's rough. So I just didn't even know until you said that. That's why I laughed so hard.
I'm here for you.
I'm about to say your laugh was it was rightful. It needed to be. It had to be done because last night's episode was laughable. It was really. No matter of fact, it was really sad. And like you said, I didn't even count that they had so many segments. And mind you, I came in at the last hour. I missed the first hour of it. So I'm not surprised. Like when you said, oh, it only had 20 minutes of wrestling for a whole 2-hour show.
16 minutes to be exact. I know you rounded up, but 16 minutes of wrestling.
16 minutes. Okay, fine.
In comparison, the opener of Rampage, Sammy Guevara and Tony Nese, went about 13 minutes.
Okay, see what I'm saying? They're like you can, and that's an hour show. That's an hour show. So I can't understand why we can't get the. Sami Zayn deserves so much better than this. Like I was like, okay, yeah, I know he's not going to win and beat Roman, but like, give Sami Zayn a break though. Like, put him on the list of people so he can go to. Like, just I don't get it. Like, yeah, we know Brock Lesnar is going to go at day one. Are we really? So where's the Royal Rumble? Are we not having that? I'm confused.
I think it's the end of January.
Yeah, they might be the beginning of February this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Then. Okay, fine. So now we have to have day one. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Yeah, we already knew. I didn't know how they were going to get Brock to do it, but okay, I'm here for the story. But whatever.
Hey, I did actually mention that, Romeo. You weren't listening. I said Brock helped Roman Reigns win by laying out Sami Zayn before the match. That's what I said. That's how Roman won in 18 seconds. You got to listen,
right.
Man.
Right. Yeah.
So over on Raw, they did 1.678 million viewers. Kevin Owens beat Big E by disqualification thanks to interference from Seth Rollins, which causes Owens to inject himself. Huh?
Do we have a picture of Seth Rollins from Monday? I mean, come on, amazing.
We probably do, but Baby Seth has to find it. I don't know.
I need
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Not that it was already in the rotation. Don't worry about it. It's
KO
okay.
is now in a triple threat match with Big E and Seth Rollins at day 1 for the WWE Championship. Edge made his return to the WWE and was confronted by the returning Miz and Maurice, who the Rated R
Maurice
Superstar.
there?
Huh?
Why was Maurice even there?
Because
she said 2 seconds. She had two things. She said she was not.
She usually shows up when they wanna put something behind. They want to do something with the Miz that's important. They usually bring back the Maurice because that's the only time that we care about the Miz, it seems. But yes, Miz and Maurice returned, and the Rated R Superstar said that he is just setting up for his next dance competition and leave his tag team partner high and dry to get released. But that wasn't the only reference to releases on Monday Night Raw, as Liv Morgan said that Becky Lynch's inflated contract is the reasons her friends were released during her contract signing with Becky for next week's Raw Women's title match. Jensen, I know you're not too privy to WWE at the moment, but what do you think about them using references to releases on television?
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting decision to make, considering like more coming. So like, I mean, I shouldn't say releases, but like, I mean, like the people we're talking about, like I don't expect Kevin Steen to be in the company much longer and stuff. And I know we're gonna be talking about more people. That's what Seth Rollins is doing now. Okay, good for him.
That's not the outfit, but you know that's a good one. He's upgraded his jackets from the last run he had. Like I don't know who's the stylist for him right now, but
it's
spot on.
It's Becky's stylist is basically
wonderful. I am so happy because I've been talking trash from his last run with the black jacket. I was like, why? It doesn't match the persona. Like it's not matching the look. Like get it together. So now she has now come back. And he's on rotation in the payroll to get better outfits. So now every week he either has like a big fur jacket or he has like this banging suits and horrible Elton John glasses, but it looks good because it goes with the look. It's just like obscene, but it goes with the gimmick. So thank you, whoever heard me. You answered my prayers. That's all I need to say.
There you go. I've always liked Seth Rollins as a performer. I just haven't seen a whole lot of him since he's like changed his whole drip drip god stuff I'm seeing on Twitter. But like
it's great.
I you know, day 1 is here in Atlanta. I completely refuse to buy tickets, but somebody
that was me for Survivor Series. I swear to you, that was me for Survivor Series.
Well, I'm hope like I have a good friend that works for State Farm Arena, who like, you know, which is where they're gonna be, and they were like, this thing is not selling. Like, if you just want some free tickets, like that won't be a problem. And I was like, I mean, if they're good tickets or tickets that like include like free food of some kind, like I'll probably go. But that's what it takes. Whereas on the flip side, it's like I'm going to Terminus on January 18th. I think it's 16th or 18th. It's a Thursday. But like I'm going to Terminus, which is like, you know, an indie show here in Atlanta, the Jonathan Gresham, Baron Black, and like I'm pumped for that. But like WWE comes to town, like I don't even care. AEW's here. I drive a half hour to get to the show. You know what I mean? Like that's
the part that part.
Yeah, it's rough because like I want to get pumped up to like watch the WWE or whatever, but I just it is what it is. And then once again, I'd take way too long to explain kind of why I am where I'm at with them. But like, as to answer your question, SP3, like, I don't necessarily have an issue, I guess, with them referencing releases, but they're going to just get a lot of egg on their face when like the same people making these comments aren't even in the company like once or a year from now or something, because they're just going to continue to bleed talent, you know? So It just kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it.
It's very, very weird. And there was reports that a couple of it was actually Sean Rossap on the Fightful Raw review who said that he spoke to numerous people, including a current WWE superstar, who thought the comments were in bad taste. So I can't say they're not, because they definitely are.
Well, see, here's the thing. At the end of the day, like, regardless of what my opinion or any of our three opinion are, like, it's a totally different thing to be in the company and having these opinions, because that's going to completely change your morale and your outlook on what's going on. And like, so it really matters what they think about it, for sure. And if that's the case for talent backstage, like I would say not to do it anymore, because you don't want to. You're already in a position where a lot of your talent wants to leave. Like, don't keep giving them more reasons to want out.
Yep, that's it. That part.
Totally agree. Last bit of what we missed, NXT 2.0. They did 637,000 viewers. Braun Breaker defeated Johnny Gargano in a ladder match to win the War Games advantage for Team 2.0 on Sunday, as well as
You know who's going to win this match? I'm sorry.
Kaylee Ray beat Dakota Kai in a ladder match to win the War Games advantage for Team Shirai for the Women's War Games over on Impact on AXS-TV. Matt Cardona pinned Moose in a tag team main event of Moose and W. Morrissey versus Matt Cardona and Eddie Edwards. Scott D'Amore after the match made it that it's going to be W. Morrissey versus Moose versus Matt Cardona for the Impact World title at Hard to Kill, following W. Morrissey turning on Moose after the tag team main event. And we saw the union of the Inspiration and the Influence as a stable of sorts, which should be entertaining for sure. Couple of comments that we got here. We got Romeo saying, I looked it up. Savage's mom was Jewish, but he was raised Catholic. You lost one, Stephen.
Oh, we lost a member of the tribe to Catholicism. I will say this in all honesty, my current, like, without getting too deep, I lean a bit more kind of agnostic nowadays, like in kind of like my views. I'm very big on like the I don't know one way or another kind of thing. But I was raised Jewish, and I was bar mitzvah, and like my mother, was Jewish. She passed away when I was younger, but she was very, very into it. So I keep part of it, and that's kind of where, right. And that's kind of with Judaism. I honestly think some of it's just kind of in your blood, like whether you convert or not, like you're kind of born into it one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like we lost Savage. But hey, I'll keep hope alive that he was still a little bit Jewish in there.
He's a little bit. He got a little bit of it.
And by the way, I want to make it clear, like anyone's religious beliefs, like I'm totally like whatever you want to believe, like you know what I'm saying. Like I think people should just do whatever works for them. Do whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you have a good life. I'm not saying it's right or wrong to be any of these specific religions. I'm just want to throw that out there. Like, do what makes you happy and what you think makes you kind of have a better life. That's all. That's kind of where I'm at with all of it. So
100% agree with you there. We got Bill's Mafia STF saying, I believe SRS said Sammy's entrance on SmackDown was at 9:28 and the bell rang at 9:56. Tells you all about the pacing over on Friday Night SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. Dion Chua says pies, eggs, bunnies, and zombies. What a year. Yes, a year in the WWE.
My God, you're right. Who had the eggs though?
That was the
egg,
like Survivor Series, the gold egg, the Cleopatra's egg that Vince had. Bill's Mafia STF says FTR and Pac, FTR versus Pac and Penta was almost 19 minutes. So one match on Rampage was longer than all the matches on SmackDown.
Well, go figure. A wrestling show with wrestling on it. I mean,
what a weird concept.
I know. Whoa. It seems so like it isn't. That's the thing. Like the AEW isn't doing. I mean, I love AEW. It's my favorite company. Like I have no problem saying it. But like anyone who complains about this kind of stuff or or compares the companies or whatever, it's like one's a wrestling show, one's an entertainment show. Like all you have to do is look at the amount of wrestling on each show. Yeah. Like they're two totally different things at this point. So
100% agree with you there. Like, yeah, it is. They're going for two different audiences as well.
Yeah,
I think that's something that not a lot of people want to acknowledge a lot of times.
And it's fine that they do that. It's totally fine that they do that. Like watch, like Tony Khan says, watch your wrestling. Watch whatever wrestling you like. Similar to the thing I just said about religion. Whatever you like, do it. Like don't let other people who don't like it influence you not to do it. I've never once ever said not to watch WWE Raw. I don't watch it, but like that doesn't mean you shouldn't. So like same kind of thing. Like if you're into what the WWE does and you really like it, keep watching it. If you like what multiple companies, you watch multiple companies. Like become the best advice I can give any wrestling fan. I talk about it on the weekend or often. Become a fan of wrestlers themselves and then follow them where they go. And if you're not a fan of like the WWE, maybe it's maybe you don't see a whole lot of Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins, the guys that you like, but like there's still so many other people that you could watch elsewhere. And then still, I tune into WWE once a month for the pay-per-views. And I'm way more able to enjoy the product because I watch it once a month. all the video packages, catch me up on all the storylines before every match.
And and this is one thing that I've been saying a lot on AE Ramble, and I'll say it here. WWE, I will say 100% does a better job of putting out a television show that's for lapsed fans, for fans that aren't watching week to week, because for someone who watches week to week like myself, I'm generally annoyed by the number of recaps that they have. But that's not for me. That's for someone who's not watching the product week to week, that is just watching it for the first time. They understand what the hell is going on. So I totally agree with Jensen that when you watch the pay-per-view, that's all they have. They have a recap of how we got to the match, and then you get the match. And you get some of the best wrestlers in the world in WWE. So that's a much healthier way for your mental health to watch WWE than watching it week to week. And I say that, and I said, like I said, WWE does a much better job for lapsed fans than AEW. AEW, you need to watch week to week to know what the hell is going on. WWE, not so much. So that's the biggest.
They give recaps on SmackDown for Raw.
Exactly. Two different brands that were fighting for brands. They were fighting for brand supremacy like last week, and now you're recapping their show.
Why do we have a draft? Like, I don't understand. Why do we have this? Like, if you're gonna tell me what happened on Raw, like, and then you tell me what happened on SmackDown, like, the point is it's pointless. That means people are clearly not watching the shows, and you want me to now understand what happened.
But now you honestly can say, "Oh, I just have to watch SmackDown because I know I'm going to get the recap of Raw." So
exactly.
It's making it easier.
Like 205 Live, half the show is like a recap from something from Raw. Also, I mean, they're constantly replaying the same stuff. But I honestly think, and once again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing or wrong. I'm just saying, like, the way that they film Raw and SmackDown at this point, it's specifically for video packages. Like they're doing stuff so that they can put together packages for pay-per-views. Like so if you're watching the pay-per-view, there's really all you need to watch, because like everything that mattered up until that point is going to be shown to you on the pay-per-view. So like, and I'm totally with y'all about the brand split. I've been saying that for years. Like that, I don't think the brand split is a terrible idea.
Yep.
I hate the idea.
I'm actually a fan of the brand split. I'm not gonna lie. I like the brand split because it gives more people opportunities. And when they were one roster, SmackDown became a rematch show for rematches from Raw. So I don't want the world before the brand split. Honestly,
that's on the writing though. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so I know they're not capable of of writing for one roster with two different shows. I know they have shown in 2016. Go back to the summer of 2016, from July to December. That's some of the best WWE television in a decade. Like when the first brand split happened, I could watch Raw to see guys like Kevin Owens, like Chris Jericho, like Seth Rollins, and the New Day, like those guys every week on Raw. And I get to watch SmackDown and see AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, John Cena. So that was the best time for the brand split. Yes, it has gotten a little bit shoddy over the last couple of years, but I know they're capable of giving us good television with the brand split. I don't know if they are with one roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. I totally understand what you're saying, and I think like the original brand split did a good job of it. Like 100%, with like the SmackDown 6 and like when Heyman was in charge of one show and all this stuff. Like that was really great for a while, and in 2016 it was great for a while as well. But it just seems like they stray away from it, and that it doesn't actually create any actual stars. Like it gives people potential to break through, because you might be able to have more people on the show if you have two separate shows, but all they've built is Roman Reigns. Like that's it. So it isn't necessarily working. And also back in 2016, you also had an influx. Half the names you just said were like indie stars that became NXT stars that, you know, so they had like a ton of talent there. Now they're in a position where it's like they're going to have to be pulling out of the talent bank of like these non-indie wrestlers that learned at the Performance Center and bring them up. And they're going to take way more time to be able to figure out what the hell's going on. So like, I don't know, but that's a whole other thing. Because I don't like the idea of 2 world champions and all this other stuff. So it's like
we could compromise there and come up with one world champion to go on both shows. But I don't feel confident that they are capable of writing 2 separate main roster shows with one roster. I
totally understand that. I'm with you.
I feel we're gonna get double the Becky, double the Roman, double the Charlotte. That's all we would get. That's the only change we would get, really.
I think they'd benefit from double the Roman, though. To be completely honest, I think there's people who don't watch Raw because Roman's not on it.
That is true. That is true. But we gotta progress with the show. We gotta move on to the news rundown. And speaking of news of people in WWE or leaving WWE, according to Fightful Select, WWE has been working on signing both NXT stars Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly, whose contracts are set to expire soon. According to the site, talks about a contract extension starting in October with Gargano. The site's sources noted that WWE wants to keep him on board and praise his work with The Way, including how he helped build new stars. And we said last week that Gargano signed a 1-week extension that takes him through NXT War Games this weekend. So it should be very interesting. Like we said last week, if he wanted to sign a long-term deal, he would have. He wouldn't have signed a 1-week extension. So it's very telling. As for Kyle O'Reilly, WWE is also interested in re-signing him. O'Reilly's contract expires before the end of the year, and WWE has approached him about possibly re-signing. O'Reilly was said to be a bit surprised his contract is up soon, as WWE has extended several contracts due to various reasons. Tommaso Ciampa's contract was noted as one that was extended due to his time off from injury, and WWE is said to be well aware of the contract lengths after they looked over them all after the Pete Dunne and Adam Cole contracts came up and was a surprise to the company. Jensen, what do you think? What is your first take? What's your initial reaction? Do you think Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly will re-sign with WWE? And if not, where do they go?
Okay, so first of all, initial reaction, make sure to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. That is where this news is coming from. That's where you can listen to my podcast every Sunday, The Weekender. So I'm glad that you got the news from Fightful Select, because they're very, very reliable. Sean Ross Sapp.
I'm a subscriber, so you should be as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, absolutely. And as far as where these guys are going or if they're staying, if I'm Kyle O'Reilly, I am gone yesterday. Like I am so heading to AEW. Like it's not even a question. The storyline's literally waiting for him right now with the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish. Like it's literally just sitting there waiting for him to show up.
Waiting for him to come. Yep.
And this is the first time, and I think either of Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly's careers, at least dating back to like around the time they started, that they haven't been in the same company. And I think that that's part of it too, is like, Kyle's got so many buddies over there in AEW that are probably just like, let me put it this way. I'd be shocked if Kyle O'Reilly stayed with WWE and wasn't in AEW within like the next, whenever he's legally allowed to be. Like he'll be
90 days probably.
Whatever he's got for that. And even that, like he's in such a good position. He might be the kind of guy who like tells the WWE, I don't want the pay, just let me go. Like, he's going to be.
But no. With O'Reilly and Gargano, they could go to AEW the minute their contract expires. It's not them being released. Only if you're released, you get the 90 or 30-day non-compete clause. If you let your contract expire, you could do what Adam Cole did. Adam Cole left WWE 2 weeks later. He's in AEW.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, good call. That's right.
That makes so much sense. I didn't even think about that. You're wow. Okay. Go ahead.
So Kyle is honestly, it's same with Adam Cole. He did the same thing. They're being really cool to the WWE. It's like they know they're leaving, but they're still like have the respect to be like, we're in the middle of these storylines. You're trying to get other people over before we leave. Like we'll stay and help you do that before you get out of here.
Yeah.
Gargano. So right there, right off the bat, Kyle O'Reilly, all elite, 100%. Waiting for the graphic. When it comes to Johnny Gargano, that one's a little bit tougher because I think Gargano would do really well anywhere because he's so good in the ring. but he also, for this is just me personally, I think he comes off incredibly dweeby, whether he's a heel or a babyface.
Yes,
like,
yes,
you know,
yes, yes, yes.
and he can have great matches, but like I don't think he brings, just from my own opinion, I think Kyle O'Reilly brings a lot more to the table than Johnny Gargano does in a lot of ways. And I love Kyle O'Reilly, and also I gotta preface it, Kyle O'Reilly is one of my favorite independent wrestlers of all time. Like I love watching him in the ring. I love his poise and the way he carries himself, and like the mixed martial arts elements to what he does. And he has so much built-in history with people already in AEW that like they have so many ways they can go with him. And he can do it as a singles guy or a tag team guy. He's equally good both. Gargano, I think, could come in and have a lot of really, really good matches. But I think he'd be even better served as a guy who, like, this isn't a slight or anything, but like if he was on AEW Dark, for instance, and just having bangers with independent wrestlers, I think that would be like mutually beneficial, because like Gargano could reestablish himself as like one of the best in-ring guys in the world, but also help all these kind of lesser known guys become stars. But that said, I think between the two, I think Gargano would be more likely to stay, because I think he is such a WWE fan at heart that, like, you know, he gets to work with Shawn Michaels, his favorite wrestler ever. And like Adam Cole's in the same boat though, but like, you know, Adam Cole's also said his favorite day in his whole career was his AEW debut. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
and that says a lot.
Right. And he was in a great position on NXT. It wasn't even like he was
the
like,
longest reigning NXT champion of all time.
Right. Exactly. So like, I think the thing with someone like Gargano or someone like O'Reilly and some others, that names that will pop up eventually, is like, you just have to see the writing on the wall. Like, you look at others that look similar to you or wrestle similar to you or have like a similar, you know, history in the business or whatever. And you look at guys like Ricochet, right? And you're like, if they can't figure out what to do with him, what are they going to do with me? You know, like,
Talk about it.
You know, so it's like, so that's the thing, is like, could Gargano stay and like be like a company guy and maybe have some, but that's the thing. Raw and SmackDown isn't about going out there and having good matches. Like, all he would be is a really dweeby character, and then maybe get to wrestle sometimes, but like in like 5-minute matches, like, and if you're okay with that, that's fine. Like, that's up to you. You do what's best for your family. You get the bag. You know what I mean? Like that's totally fine. But like, also don't be the kind of guy that like re-signs with the company and then like a few months later is tweeting about your position in the company. Like, when you re-sign, know what you're re-signing for. So
exactly.
So that said, I'd expect Gargano to leave, because I think AEW would come calling, and if they didn't, Impact would, or MLW would, or every independent company in the world would want him. GCW. But I think Kyle O'Reilly is 1,000,000% heading to AEW.
Yeah, I think the biggest locks are Steen and O'Reilly as far as WWE guys going from WWE to AEW. But it wasn't until he signed the 1-week contract that I thought that there was a chance for Gargano. Because Gargano has a wife that's with the company at least through 2022. He has a kid on the way that he lives in Florida already through, you know, right next to, you know, CWC and stuff. So he has a lot of other things, a lot of other strings in NXT. As of right now, Kyle O'Reilly's got more strings in AEW than he does NXT. So it's two totally different situations. So that's why I asked Jensen who he thought was going where.
Well, and the other thing about Kyle is, you know, if he you know, extends for any amount of time, I think it's really just paying it forward, because like Adam Cole did the same thing for him. Like, Adam Cole stayed longer so that they could put over Kyle O'Reilly. But then they changed the entire direction of NXT 2.0 and it just wound up not meaning anything, because they just completely rebranded right after that.
Dude, if you would have told SP3 in April that we are standing here at December of 2021 and Kyle O'Reilly has not won the NXT championship, I would have called you a liar, because that was my belief. I thought when they did this feud with him and Cole that he would win and he would go up to the NXT championship. And now the dude is coming out on Tuesdays looking depressed and coming out to Von Wagner's music. Von freaking Wagner.
That makes me sad. I don't know anything about Von Wagner other than what he looks like, but like when Kyle O'Reilly's been kind of made second fiddle to some like brand new dude that
Yes,
that's kind of
that
weak,
part.
right?
That's that part. There you go. It's disgusting.
Very sad.
I'm glad you feel me on that because I feel pretty disgusted myself.
We got Bills Mafia STF saying, sadly, the audience the Fed is going for is hemorrhaging year over year. Ha ha ha. We also got Marcus8915 saying, the promos on Raw rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like how they used the releases as a storyline.
Stupid, yeah.
Frantic World says, I still don't understand the egg. I don't think they do either, Frantic World. So to be completely fair, Bills Mafia says, Fed lost me altogether since AEW. It would take a miracle to get me to watch weekly again. We also got here... and we got Romeo saying, and they're new tag team champions. I'd laugh. We got also news. The rumors of a Charlotte Flair and Andrade El Idolo breakup are true. A couple of weeks ago, the internet became a buzz about a potential breakup between one of the wrestling's most popular couples after fans noticed that Andrade had unfollowed Charlotte on social media. And it was also pointed out that Andrade had deleted all recent pictures of the two from his social media accounts, adding more fuel to the speculation fire. After speaking with multiple sources, Cassidy Haynes of bodyslam.net confirmed that the two are no longer together. Sources indicated that the breakup did not appear to be mutual, and it was Charlotte who ended the relationship. Cassidy says that he was not given any details as to why the relationship came to an end. Charlotte and Andrade came together in February of 2019 and were engaged on January 1st of 2020. Miss Krssi Luv, what's your thoughts on the breakup of a popular couple in Andrade and Charlotte?
Right. It's sad to say. I guess she has her reasons or whatever. Maybe it was the distance. Could be her traveling. I think that could be it. He's on the road with it's two separate companies, so it could be a lot of that. Maybe it could be flack from like Vince. Maybe who knows? Who knows? It could be a number of things. I'm sure everyone got their hand trying to say something about her relationship, and she's with the other guy that's now popping on the other show. Could be, things like that. I wish them nothing but happiness, and hopefully they either one find their way back or find happiness somewhere else. But it's very hard to be, with someone in this company and you're not with them on the road all the time anymore. So, that could be a number of things. And I'm sure like they're probably trying to schedule, and it could be a number of things, to be honest. But I'm sure scheduling and not seeing each other could be one of those things too.
For sure. We also got news in a post on Twitter that Beth Phoenix announced that she will be leaving the WWE NXT commentary table following the War Games pay-per-view on Sunday. Beth Phoenix debuted as a commentator in WWE in 2017 in the Mae Young Classic and worked in a part-time role until being promoted to full-time in 2019. She wrote on Twitter, and I quote, "Ahead of War Games, I wanted to share that this Sunday will be my final night in NXT. I will remain a part of WWE. I have made the choice to step away from the weekly broadcast booth to spend more time with my family. This was not an easy decision, as I've loved my 3+ years and 135 episodes with NXT, and am incredibly proud of the brand. I will forever be grateful to Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, Nigel McGuinness, Tom Phillips, Mauro Ranallo, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Michael Cole, and my entire NXT family, both in and out of the ring, for the amazing opportunity. NXT will always be a part of me, and Auntie Betty will always be a part of NXT. Leave the porch light on for me." And like mentioned earlier, Phoenix's husband, Edge, returned on Raw and started a program with The Miz, who returned with Maurice. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Maurice's appearance was not a one-time deal, and that there is already talk of potentially adding Beth Phoenix to the program at some point in the future. So do you think, Jensen, that her leaving the NXT commentary booth is to prepare herself for an in-ring return?
Maybe. But very well could be the case.
Mixed tag match type deal for WrestleMania, probably. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, they could do that. I mean, Maurice is I hadn't seen her in the ring in a long time. I have no idea how she would look in the ring. Beth, I'm sure, would do fine. She was always solid in the ring.
Mhm.
Her on commentary, admittedly, I didn't get to hear a lot of it just because I don't really watch the NXT show that often. She seemed to do okay, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it, I guess. Like I kind of would just rather Edge and Miz just do whatever they're gonna do, like
By
solo.
themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you got months until WrestleMania, so they can do a singles match at like day one.
But do you think that's going to stretch to WrestleMania?
I think if they're adding in Beth Phoenix, that I don't.
It's gonna go that route.
Both guys are going to be in the Rumble, unless they do a Saudi show before WrestleMania. I don't see a show big enough in WWE's mind to do that match.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. I've always liked The Miz. Like, I'm a big fan. And we've talked about, me and you, SP3 had talked about, I was a fan from Real World back to New York and through the challenges and the whole deal. So, like, I was always rooting for The Miz to, like, because I thought it was so cool how when he was doing those reality shows, he was always saying pretty much like, the only reason I'm doing this is so I can pay my way through wrestling school so I can become a wrestler. Like, that's exactly what he did. Like, he actually like achieved his goal. So I'm always going to have respect for him for that. I know there's a lot of Miz haters out there, but when you look at it, he's been in the game for a long time now. He's one of the most recognizable stars the entire company has at this point.
Yes.
So I understand the idea of him and Edge having a big time or like a highlighted, feud heading into WrestleMania. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know about Maurice and Beth. But Beth did say she wanted to spend more time with her family, right? So like maybe it is really just her kind of going home. I don't know.
Maybe they want one of the parents to be home now that Edge
I'm about to say the
is-
same thing. Somebody has to be home with the girls, and someone has to, like, both parents. Maybe whoever was the babysitter can't do it anymore. Things like that. Maybe it's a family member. You never know what it is that's at home. If it's someone at home, if it's like saying I got to be with my family, that means someone has to like now be there for the kids, and someone has to do drop-offs and pickups and like things like that, or they're missing out on the kids like doing certain things at school, and it's guilt of a parent. So once you're missing a couple of things, the kids do that to you too. Also, they'll make you feel guilty. So that can also be one of the things that also, like, what, maybe it's, I'm not quitting, but I need to just step away for a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's totally respectable. Like, that's a decision that, like, put your family first. Like,
right.
I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that, so.
You shouldn't, like if I have to be there for my family will come over anybody first, regardless, because at the end of the day, you're supposed to have your family that has your back or whatever. So yeah, I mean, they shouldn't. Hopefully, they don't do like they did the Nia Jax or anything. Like,
let's hope not. Let's hope not. Mike Johnson of PW Insider also notes that in regard to Edge's promo reference to John Morrison's release, WWE sources stated that Edge would have creative freedom with his promos and thus likely came up with the lines himself to add more realism to his feud with Miz rather than it being given to him by WWE creative. I don't know what's worse. WWE has announced their new NIL Next in Line program, which will give collegiate athletes a direct path to the WWE if they choose to. In the press release, Triple H said the WWE NIL program has the potential to be transformative to our business. By creating partnerships with elite athletes at all levels across a wide variety of college sports, we will dramatically expand our pool of talent and create a system that readies NCAA competitors for WWE once their collegiate careers come to a close. How jealous are you of the collegiate athletes nowadays, Jensen?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I think this is smart for them to do if this is the direction they're going. Like, if you're going to go the route of, because they're being forced into it too, to be fair. Like, these independent wrestlers aren't, like, they're not choosing to sign with the WWE anymore. Like, even months ago, like, there were a handful of indie wrestlers that I know had verbal agreements with the WWE, and this was probably like early 2020. And even then, like, I was hearing like, I've got an offer on the table, but I'm not going to sign. Like, I'm going to hold out, see what happens with AEW, see what happens with GCW, see what happens on the indies, blah, blah, blah. And like, they were actively already choosing not to go there, a lot of wrestlers. So like, now that they've like drawn the line in the sand and been like, We're not interested in independent wrestlers. We're not interested in anyone over the age of like 30 or whatever. We're going specifically with NXT being about this NXT 2.0 and molding our own wrestlers. It totally makes sense that they would form some sort of system to get in with the college athletes as soon as possible. And now that I don't know exactly how it works, but now that college athletes can actually make money, like outside of, So now they can find, now it's probably just like, they probably would have been doing this forever, but now it's probably like legally allowed to be done because of the way things have changed. So like, I know Gable Stevenson's obviously like, didn't he get like drafted to one of the shows also?
Yeah, he got drafted to Raw.
So they're gonna fast track him, I'm sure. But it's also he's a rare case. He's like an actual legitimate Olympic gold medalist. Like that, you know, if he can wrestle and take bumps at all, you need to get him on the screen as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
But then there's gonna be more often than not. Sorry, what was that?
I said probably the Rumble he'll come.
Oh, that's a good call. I think that's a really good call. I think you're right about that. But
or
you know, as far as I think the Rumble would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, they could just have him come be an entrant, and they said they do want to do something with him at WrestleMania, so it would make sense to kickstart it at the Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, they really ought to figure a way of getting Kurt Angle paired with him on screen. Like, I think that would be because Angle can talk for him. They obviously have the mutual gold medal.
But you know, they released that guy. So
no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, figure out a way because like it's amazing when you look at their roster of guys like Gable Steveson and Chad Gable, who they'll probably change his name because they probably don't want two Gables on the show.
I was gonna say Chad Gable. They love their small wrestlers becoming managers. They'll just make Chad Gable Stevenson's manager.
He'll probably be a part of the whole and then get rid of Otis, dump Otis on the side of the road.
No, he'll be a part of the Alpha Academy. He'll be the star pupil of the Alpha Academy.
So
and then Otis will be jealous.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so like I guess like you said, I'm not surprised they did that. And I think it's smart. If this is the way that they're going, get in with the college athletes as fast as you can. Get a good program going with, you know, NFL players that like are getting cut from teams or whatever that have interest in wrestling. You're like, whatever. Yeah. Just get high level athletes however you can and get a system put together where you can train them, pretty much train them before they get to the PC almost. Like So I'm fine with it.
I dig it. We got Dion Chua saying, Charlotte seriously had a rough year. Romeo, Charlotte's number one fan, saying burned in the relationship, burned in the ring. We also got Dion Chua saying, I will miss Beth on commentary. Her and Wade had great interactions, and her part during the Index story added a lot. Film Nation, BTS saying, I love Charlotte Flair. So a little differences in opinions in the live chat here. We also got Slam and Sammy Joe joining us saying Morrison and Talia would have been better for this feud. I'm just saying. I believe he's talking about the Edge and Beth Phoenix feud. So
right, yeah.
Or even Miz and Maurice. I mean,
that's true.
That is true. That was a baffling one because Taya had been wrestling on TV for years and never needed to be in NXT to begin with, and her husband was already on the main roster, and they could have done that right off the rip and just didn't. Now neither are even there. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Slam and Sammy Joe saying shout out to SP3, Alex McCarthy's favorite person. Nice joke there from Wrestling Daily. AEW news. Big Swole's AEW days are at an end. She's announced they've mutually come to an agreement to not renew her contract. Swole debuted with the company at All Out 2019 and posted on Twitter on Tuesday that she was leaving, saying over the course of a couple of months, my life has taken on the mantra, grow, learn, change. Dealing with shadow work took strength I didn't know I had. I thank God for my loving family because they got me through some of the roughest months of my life. But I realized the real test is application. So I took my leap, and after speaking with TK and AEW higher officials, we've decided not to renew my contract with All Elite Wrestling. This was a hard decision, but a needed one. I am grateful for their understanding and that we could mutually come to this agreement. I've enjoyed my time with AEW and wish them all the best. I appreciate their love and welcome me into their family. Today is my last day, and as bittersweet as it is, I am proud to say I've lived my dreams while making a difference. That is Swole mentality. Fightful Select once again coming through with more details. Reports that the deal was not ended early. Swole's contract with AEW had always been set to end in the end of November. Both parties just decided not to renew it. Swole has been absent from AEW several times this year, which kept her out of action as she's been dealing with her issues that she's been public about with Crohn's disease in the past. And there was no heat or any reason why things would have ended on bad terms. Miss Krssi Luv, are you disappointed we won't see more Big Swole in All Elite Wrestling?
Yes, I am very disappointed. I think she could have been out there more showcased out, but I guess because of her sickness and things like that that's happening outside, it just prevented her to. I'm sure she didn't want to leave, but I guess your health and everything else has to come first before you can even do this job to perform for people. But I pray that she will get, what she's needing outside of the wrestling, world, and just more health. And you have to be more self-conscious nowadays more than anything of what's happening, especially like with your body and things like that. You have to be more protective and more guarded. So I'm sure she's probably like trying to not like travel and be out there more where we have all these different variants happening. So she has to like make sure that her body and everything is more healthy and secure, and where she's not putting herself in a place where she can get, sick or things like that.
Makes sense. It makes sense, and is the best thing for her health, and that's all we want. So we wish her definitely Big Swole the best from us, all of us at True Hill Heat. In other contract news, Tony Nese is All Elite officially signing a deal with AEW. Tony Khan announced on Friday that Nese has signed with the promotion ahead of his TNT Championship match with Sammy Guevara on last night's AEW Rampage. And then over on the re-sign front, the Young Bucks, as we established last week, signed a new deal with AEW, which will see the team remain in the company until at least 2024. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that their initial deal with the company, signed on January 1st, 2019, was for 3 years. While it was supposed to end on December 31st, it also gave Tony Khan an option for 2 more years. With a raise both of those years, Khan decided to pick up that option, so the Young Bucks will stay in AEW until at least December 31st, 2023. Those who have similar deals, including Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes, Hangman Page, and Chris Jericho, they were the original group that started with the company and all had 3-year deals. That would mean technically their contracts expire on December 31st, unless Khan has already picked up the 2-year option on all of those. And there have been some that have already re-signed, as has been established by PW Torch. There are several AEW contracts set to expire. What do you think? Do you think there's going to be any known talent or established talent that decide to leave AEW right now, Jensen?
I don't know. I mean, so I need to preface anything I'm going to say by like the situation AEW is running into currently is very, very different than the situation WWE has been doing with like mass releases. I need to make that like a clear thing, because I know people that hear this or potentially might think I'm being hypocritical. But the thing is like, this is legitimate business. This is legitimate sports. Like, there's a difference between hoarding a ton of talent and not knowing what to do, and then just firing them because like you made the mistake, quote unquote, of like hiring so many people. And what AEW is doing, which is what every business or any sports entity is going to do. You sign a certain amount of contract time, and then you're going to have time to either renew it or let the contract expire naturally, let people go into free agency. I mean, this is very, very normal, especially because the way AEW is treating it is like a true contract. Like, Tony Khan is treating AEW the same way he would treat the Jacksonville Jaguars, where it's like, if you're under contract, you're getting paid for that amount of time regardless. We're keeping you for that amount of time regardless. We're not cutting you out of your contract early. If we said we're giving you 3 years, even if we only use you for 2 years, you're still going to be the third year, and then you become a free agent at the end of your contract. We're not just mass firing people because we're hiring too many people. Like, it is two different things. That said, Big Swole I don't think she'll be the only person who is not extended. because there is a time right now where you're going to get Tony Nese becomes available. I think Ember Moon is like a can't miss. Definitely got to sign to AEW.
Agreed.
Like there are
yes, for sure.
If you want to go with like Keith Lee and Mia Yim and stuff, like it's becoming a point where like if you're a big Swole, for instance, who's already kind of lost in the mix and has been given opportunities, like she was highlighted in certain spots, but like I think she was about to get really lost in the mix when like a new influx of talent came in. And I think the best thing she can do is like if she went to like Impact Wrestling, for instance, and only had to wrestle a couple times a year and could deal with the health issues and then become like the centerpiece of like a women's division somewhere else, raise her stock, and then come back to AEW with a bigger name, with a bigger fan base. Very similar to when Christian left the WWE in like 2005 or 6 or whatever. When he was the same thing. He didn't quit the company, just like Big Swole didn't. They let their contracts run out. They went into free agency. Christian went over to TNA, became one of the top guys there. And then, unfortunately, when he came back to WWE, they just like had him walk out on ECW and like nobody cared and like they dropped the ball. But I don't think AEW would do that. I think if Big Swole went off, became the Impact Knockouts champion, was there for a year or two, gained all this buzz, and then came back, that's probably the best thing she could do for her career right now, to be honest. So that's kind of where it's at. Is like I think that I don't want to name names because I don't want anyone to lose their job, obviously. Right. But I don't think that she's the only one who is their like 3-year deal is going to naturally run out, and then there's going to be more free agents coming out of AEW. As much as I love the company, it isn't their responsibility to keep everybody under contract. Like I think they have the responsibility of honoring the contracts that are being signed, which is what they're doing. That said, there's no way in hell they're losing Cody Rhodes. There's no way in hell they're losing Kenny Omega. The only way I think they lose Brandy is if like she goes full in on like she wants to be a parent and like doesn't want to be a part of the life on the road or whatever. Like that's I think the only way they'd lose Brandy. So Hangman's the same way. You built the last 3 years of your program into getting Hangman that title. Like there's no way he's going anywhere. The Young Bucks, in my opinion, are the best tag team in the world right now. Like there's no way you let them go. So I think all the EVPs, Jericho would probably be the most interesting one, only because he has so many options outside of AEW. But even then, I don't think he goes anywhere. The ones that are going to be really interesting are going to be when like Sammy Guevara comes up or MJF comes up, any like the pillar guys, because I think they'll all stay too, but they're gonna I think at least listen. I think like MJF would at least listen to an offer from the WWE. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I think
MJF would have it on the table, basically.
Exactly. And at the very least, a negotiating tactic. Hey, they just offered me this, so I'm going to want this to re-sign. I mean, that's just business.
I think MJF is loyal. The one that surprised that, when I was last asked, like, who you think from WWE, from AEW would go to WWE, I think the person that they would push very hard for that may surprise some people is Jungle Boy. If they're trying to get younger fans, Jungle Boy in like a year or two, if he puts on more mass, more muscle, that's the type of guy that WWE would jump through hoops for to try to sign. Plus, he's a second generation person from a celebrity. Like that's like WWE. WWE must have written all over it.
And I was about to say with that, piggybacking off what you just said, they have actual footage already of Jungle Boy as a kid growing up backstage at shows with his dad, front row.
SummerSlam 2009. He's in the front row with his dad. Yeah.
So the video package is already ready to be made.
Exactly. That said, I hope Jungle Boy stays in AEW. I think he's like a giant part of their future. But I mean, when I'm talking, naturally ending contracts, I'm talking more along the lines of like lower card talent that you might not have really been seeing on TV often. I could see maybe some of them becoming free agents, but once again, that's not always a bad thing. Like if you're not on TV and you want to be wrestling and you can go to other companies and and that's the other thing about AEW. They actually let you be an independent contractor. Like half these guys are wrestling on the indies still right now and making extra money and doing autograph signings and stuff. So but yeah, I don't see AEW losing anybody that's like a focal point of any of their shows or anything backstage. So.
I agree there. And speaking of Brandy, she made her return to in-ring action on the AEW Dark taping this week. Also, who appeared was ROH Pure Champion Josh Woods, making his first appearance for another company since ROH announced their hiatus. Former NXT talent Marina Shafir, the wife of Roderick Strong, was in a matchup against Chris Statlander. Of course, Shafir was also a part of the MMA Horsewomen with Jessamine Duke, Shayna Baszler, and Ronda Rousey in the WWE. Also, who was visiting backstage at AEW Dynamite in Atlanta this week, Jonathan Gresham, Matt Taven, and Glacier were all backstage at the taping, according to PW Insider. And then our final AEW news is apparently the booking of Adam Cole has become a topic of conversation, taking to social media. One of Steven's good friends over at Fightful, Will Washington, put out a tweet addressing it, and Tony Khan replied to the tweet saying that is false equivalency. Will, they tried to move the line with ridiculous points, aiming to dispute the credibility of something credible. Adam Cole is over AF. He's pushed and has many more young fans watching him than he did on Tuesdays. Would we argue if they said water wasn't wet? Basically, what the talk is that some people feel that Adam Cole was treated as a god in NXT, and he's been treated as nothing more than a member of a group in AEW and dressing up in Ghostbuster outfits. They're very offended by all of this. A few hours after that post by Khan, Adam Cole posted on his own Twitter saying that no matter where I've gone, no matter how long it takes, I've always become the guy. Always. Hashtag Adam Cole Bebe, hashtag boom, hashtag superclick at AEW. Man, the wrestling social media verse never cease to amaze me. Someone is clearly having fun doing their job, and seems like they're having so much more fun than they did in WWE. It's, oh man, they should have never went there. If this was the same Adam Cole and he wasn't getting over on the main roster, they'd be like, let it play out. So I just want you to all look at who the source is when you see a bad faith take like that. Impact Wrestling news, PW Insider reported that Gail Kim will be featured in more of an authority figure role for Impact programming in the next couple of weeks. The plan is to have her announce more competitors for the recently announced first ever Knockouts Ultimate X match starting next week. New Japan Pro Wrestling news, in the Best of the Super Juniors 28, Show is in the lead with 12 points, 6-2. They got one more night of block competition before the finals later this week. El Desperado is in the running as well behind Show with 9 points, as well as Hiromu Takahashi, who also has 9 points. World Tag League 2021 has the Dangerous Techers in the league with 12 points, while Naito and Sanada, as well as Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens, Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, as well as Great O'Khan and Aaron Hanare all have 10 points, so they're all in the running. And the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that more restrictions have been set up in Japan following the arrival of a new variant of the COVID-19 virus. This has led to Japan closing its borders to most travelers. While this will affect New Japan Pro Wrestling, it doesn't apply to certain wrestlers. Those who have already been working with visas will be able to return. This means that Will Ospreay, who is set to main event night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom on January 5th, will be able to travel to Japan. So I know New Japan was definitely worried about that for sure, and should be.
Yes, they should.
But it seems like everything's going to be going through for 3 nights of Wrestle Kingdom. So we'll definitely be talking about that and the last True Hill Heat of this year, as well as the first True Hill Heat of next year. And then our final news notes, we got to say congratulations to Davey Richards, who won the 2021 Opera Cup for MLW by defeating TJP. It was also announced by ROH that there will be 6-man tag team title match at ROH Final Battle next Saturday. It's going to be Shane Taylor Promotions are set to defend against the Righteous Trio of Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch, and that's December 11th in Baltimore for Final Battle. And then the final note is ROH has already paid for the venue for Supercard of Honor in April. So if you thought Ring of Honor was not going to come back after the hiatus at the beginning of the year, they already made sure to put out the news that they paid for the venue in Dallas for their return for Supercard of Honor. So we are going to see Ring of Honor in 2022. So final segment, Stephen and Miss Krssi Luv, we got two big shows for the weekend. NWA Hard Times 2, which you could describe as a big show or not. It's up to you. And as well as NXT War Games. We will just do predictions for the top matches for Hard Times 2, as well as all the matches for War Games. The lineup for Hard Times 2 has Douglas Williams versus Colby Carino. You're also going to see Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship on the line. Mickie James defending against Kira Hogan. NWA World Junior Heavyweight Title Tournament qualifier. Austin Aries in NWA. He's going to be versing Rhett Titus. ROH World Tag Team titles are on the line. Mike Bennett and Matt Taven of the OGK versus Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos. We also got NWA World Women's Tag Team titles on the line. Lady Frost and Natalia Markova versus Kylie Ray and Tootie Lynn versus Allison Kay and Marty Bell. You also got NWA National Heavyweight title on the line. Judas versus Chris Adonis. NWA World Tag Team titles on the line. The End versus LaBrelian. And you also got NWA World Television title, no disqualification, no time limit. Scion versus Tyrese with special referee The Pope. So the top matches here, you got no one is allowed at ringside, and if either man is disqualified, they will be suspended. It's going to be Nick Aldis one-on-one with Tom Lattimore. Both men were a part of the Strictly Business stable until Nick Aldis lost the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, and then basically Strictly Business started to move away from Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis wanted to do things honorably in the NWA, but Strictly Business wanted to cheat and continue on their ways, so they jumped. Nick Aldis got him stretchered out. He just recently returned, so this is a grudge match. Who you got in this one, Jensen? Latimer or Aldis, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm taking Nick Aldis. Like this one, I mean, the build has been pretty good considering the whole Strictly Business breakup and Aldis losing the world title and everything.
Yeah.
I just don't see them going from Aldis being the champion for like multiple years straight, pretty much, outside of like the short time he lost to Cody. And then he lost the belt to Trevor Murdoch, but I think outside of that, they'll probably keep Aldis as strong as possible because I'm sure he'll get a rematch for that title at some point. So yeah, I got to go Nick Aldis in this one. But I think the story, I mean, NWA is a tough show to follow each week. Like I review it every week for the Weekender, but it's like there's some good stuff, but there's a lot of bad with it as well. And like this is something that I thought was done well, but like has like literally no buzz whatsoever. So like, but I am going to take Aldis for the win in that one.
I just feel like a lot of the matches on their pay-per-view cards are not built to that. They just randomly put people
together.
Yeah, I think that's what hurts them the most. Who you got in this one, Aldis or Latimer?
Aldis. Aldis for sure.
I agree with you guys. I'm going with Nick Aldis to get the victory in this grudge match. I got a couple of comments I do want to feature here. Maggie K joining us. Thank you for joining us, Maggie, saying I've already seen more of Tony Nese from the short time he's been in AEW than his entire Cruiserweight Championship reign. Yeah. Yeah. I would say so. Marcus8915 says Tony Nese is a great wrestler, but he has no personality. Yeesh.
Wow.
We also got Frantic World saying Brian Cage can't go to WWE. He is 37. They might not be good for him. I think he wants to do it.
That has nothing to do with his age. The reason he's not there. That's look at that man and tell me that he like put two and two together, y'all. There's a reason he's not WWE. Come on.
He can't pass a wellness test. Basically.
That's exactly what I'm saying without saying it. I mean, come on.
Bills Mafia SDF says Swerve is a slam dunk. I totally agree with you. I think that's the one name that Jensen didn't mention that I would say AEW definitely has to go out their way to sign.
1,000,000%. A huge fan. A lot of people don't even realize that they were fans of his as Killshot and Lucha Underground. Like, he had a great career there too. So, like, yeah, I am all about Swerve. Like, that dude gave me like an hour-long interview, probably like 2016 or something, when like no one should have given me, like, no one listened to my show then, like, at all. And like, I'll always be indebted to Swerve for like being cool as hell and giving me that interview. And I'm that dude is I would be shocked.
He got
if he
the
wasn't
shit into the
AEW.
stick for sure.
He really did. He basically got lumped in with people that, like, so I don't have anything against Hit Row, but it's like there was a clear discrepancy on like the level that Swerve was at and like them trying to build the rest of the group. It's like, it's one thing to be like, hey, the rest of them aren't ready or whatever, but like for them to drop him too was like a giant mistake, in my opinion.
100% agree with you there. Maggie K kind of echoing things with Hit Row saying shouldn't be considered a package deal. They're separate people, you know.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you, because Top Dollar is the reason why, it seems from all the reports, a lot of the reason why they got released, and Swerve is just too talented to let go.
Was it why they released her?
B-Fab? I think it was because she was
so.
green. It was because she was green, but the rest of the guys, it was because of Top Dollar, it seems. So I don't know. We got a little fun fact here. We got Slam and Sammy Joe saying the shortest title reign in AEW history is Cody's second reign as TNT champ at 31 days. Nice little fun fact there. And so we got hard times too. NWA World Women's title will be on the line. It will be Camille defending against Melina. Camille has been dominant as the NWA World Women's title champion. Remember at Empower, she had that great matchup with legit Layla Hirsch. She also defended the title successfully at 73rd anniversary against Chelsea Green. While Melina has been in the running for the NWA World Women's title for a good part of 2 years now. She battled after Allison Kay when she was champion. She was in the corner of Thunder Rosa when she was champion. She tried to get it off of Serena Deeb. Can she finally get her title here? What do you think, Miss Krssi Luv, Melina or Camille?
I'll go with Melina.
Going Melina, finally get the victory. Jensen,
finally get the.
I'm going Camille all day. They've protected her so well. she's still not like, she's still a bit green, but like there's a lot of parallels, in my opinion, between Camille and Jade Cargill, like in a lot of ways.
Yes, 100% agree with you.
You know, both having to learn on the job in front of audiences without a whole lot of experience, but both have similar builds, both very athletic, very strong. Like, I would love to see the two of them wrestle like a couple years from now. Like, I think that, and I also put like kind of Charlotte Flair in the same kind of boat when she was in like NXT, where it was like, she was learning on the job kind of stuff and like picked it up really quick.
I would say Bianca Belair is another one that you can put in that conversation.
Really, really good example as well. So like, I just don't see Camille losing here. And one thing I gotta point out, it will stick in my head forever. But on the last Impact Wrestling pay-per-view, like the commentary for Impact's so bad.
It is. Matt Striker sucks.
Matt Striker's terrible.
I like D'Lo. D'Lo was okay in small doses.
But I'm about to say what D'Lo said something that like it stuck out to me. I agree. Matt Striker's the worst on commentary, maybe in like all of wrestling. But like, D'Lo Brown during Melina's match on the last, she was like a part of like some like battle royal thing that they did, and D'Lo Brown on commentary said Melina was one of the best wrestlers to ever do it, and I was like, like come on, D'Lo, like I love you, I love D'Lo Brown. Looking at the real deal now, dude. Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing the head thing, like yeah, that's what's up. Like I love D'Lo Brown, but like. Melina is one of the best wrestlers of all time. Like,
that made my head hurt.
That's a little much. A little much, Mr. Brown.
I get being respectful, and I get that, but like, come on, man.
Little much. That's a little too much by Uncle Phil there. Uncle Phil's doing a little too much there.
Yeah. Right. But I'll take Camille in this one. I just hope it's a good match. Good. I thought Camille's match with Layla Hirsch that you mentioned earlier, I thought that was the best match of the show.
I agree
on that show that they did. So Camille can have show stealing matches.
Yeah, she had a good match with Serena Deeb as well
Yep.
as Thunder Rosa as well over the last year. I feel like Camille and Jade Cargo were made in the lab. They took the DNA of China and they mixed it with Beth Phoenix to make Camille, and then they mixed it with Jazz to make Jade Cargill. That's what I think. If I had to describe those two women to a lapsed wrestling fan, that's how I would describe them.
But also keep in mind too, going into this, what you just said with Camille, like Layla Hirsch, great in-ring wrestler, Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, potentially the two best women wrestlers in the world right now.
Indeed.
So Camille has done these things against women that are like really, 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 really damn good. Melina, like, I don't see her on quite the same level. So if they can go out there and have a really good match, I think it's going to raise the stock of both of these women a lot. So like I'm rooting for them to have a great match. I like Camille, I like Melina, but it's a different scenario than going in there with like a Serena Deeb or a Thunder Rosa. So
I do agree, and Melina had a great match at Empower against Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Knockouts title. So
Deanna's another one of those on that list. Though,
yeah, exactly. So, and then the main event is going to see NWA World Heavyweight title on the line. Trevor Murdoch will defend against Mike Knox. Mike Knox debuted in NWA back at their last major show inside of a steel cage. He jumped Trevor Murdoch, laying him out, setting the stage for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship matchup. As it seems, NWA loves the mid-2000s WWE with Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox in the main event. Who do you got here, Jensen?
So I like Murdoch as the champion. Like, I don't think it was necessarily the best idea for him to be the one to beat Aldis, but like now that it was him and this is where we're at, like Murdoch is a real throwback. He fits the NWA brand perfectly. I love the top rope bulldog as a finishing move, and he nails it. Like, there's things to like about Murdoch. But if you're the NWA and you're seeing like what is happening right now with Ring of Honor, like, and you're seeing like the lack of buzz for companies like Impact and stuff, and then your big play is to do Mike Knox as your title challenger, like no one's gonna care. Like nothing. And I don't mean for this to be like, screw Mike Knox or and Trevor Murdoch or whatever. I just don't see anyone outside of the most hardcore of hardcore niche NWA fan getting interested in this. Yep. I think there's no chance in hell Trevor Murdoch loses this title to Mike Knox.
No, I don't see it. I'm going with Trevor Murdoch. Who do you got, Miss Krssi Luv?
Murdoch for the win, guys.
Murdoch, unanimous.
And the excitement just flows out of her voice with that. Yeah,
I know, you heard it. You heard the excitement right there. We got
also throw this out there real quick. Tyrus might be the worst in-ring wrestler in the entire world, and we'll get to see him again on this show. So there you go. He is terrible.
Totally agree with you there, 100%. Bill's Mafia STF talking about the Adam Cole discourse, saying almost as absurd discourse as the Wang Man should lose to Brian discourse. There are certain fans who believe Bryan Danielson should beat Hangman Page at Winter is Coming, which I think is preposterous, to say the least. We got Marcus8915 say, I used to get hyped for the War Games show, but William Regal not there saying War Games. It doesn't get me excited for the show. But we will try our best to get you excited for the show by running down the card for NXT War Games, the first major show from NXT, not called TakeOver, since 2014, ladies and gentlemen, as this is the new era, the 2.0 era, kicks off with this major show. Hair versus hair we will start with, as it will be Duke Hudson going one-on-one with Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes got his head cut by Duke Hudson after Hudson was upset that he lost a poker match to Cameron Grimes, changing his look, and Cameron Grimes challenged Duke Hudson to a hair versus hair match to get some revenge here at War Games. So who do you think gets the victory in this one, Grimes or Hudson, Krssi?
I'm going with Grimes.
I'm going to agree with you, and I think Cameron Grimes gets the victory here. So, Jensen?
Yeah, so like I said, I haven't been watching the show. I'm familiar with everyone on it, though, so I'm just kind of going based on, like, I guess, kind of who I like better for a lot of these, or who I think where the company is heading.
Yeah.
I mean, Cameron Grimes is great. I'm actually surprised he hasn't like become more in that system than he's at right now.
Yeah.
I just don't see any reason of him losing. I mean, I've seen a little bit of Duke Hudson. Seems a bit generic to me. But Cameron Grimes is great, so I got to go Cameron Grimes.
A lot of them are generic on that show.
Yeah,
we're all in agreement there. NXT tag
nothing
team
really
titles.
much to watch or whatever. It's nothing happening. It's okay.
NXT tag team titles on the line, as it will be Imperium defending against the team of Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. Von Wagner and Kyle O'Reilly started teaming up during the 2.0 era of NXT. During that time, the first month or so, it was Imperium that defeated MSK at Halloween Havoc to win the tag team titles. Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner defeated Legado del Fantasma to become the number one contenders here. So is this the big win for Von Wagner, his first title in NXT, or does the Imperium's title reign continue? I'll start off and I'll say the Imperium gets the win, and they pin Kyle O'Reilly, unfortunately. Who do you got in this one, Jensen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same thing. I'm gonna say O'Reilly gets like brutally beaten at the end or something. Like something happens to where like the NXT audience that doesn't really know. Yeah, they're like they realize like, oh, that's why we haven't seen Kyle. Again.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
I think Imperium's a hell of a tag team. I think Bartel and Eichner do great work together, and they have been for years in NXT UK. So it's good to see what they're doing here. And dude, Von Wagner looks like Encino Man from what I'm saying? Like this, like
he does.
Like, that's such a good. Oh my god! Why didn't I
do the monkey? Do the monkey.
Use the juice. Yeah,
these the juice, man.
So yeah, that's
wow! Like you see him and you're like, Dad. He reminds me of something, but you can't really put your finger on it. You know it's something, but you just can't think of it, and that's what it is. My husband was like, "Who is this guy?" I was like, "Man with the big forehead."
We are no longer. Thank you, Jensen. You just changed things forever on Trio Heat. We will no longer refer to Von Wagner as Von Wagner, ladies and gentlemen. Von Wagner will now be referred to as Encino Man. Encino Man, absolutely Encino Man. Von Wagner equals Encino Man. When you hear Encino Man on Trio Heat, we are talking about Von Wagner. From now on, NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Oh wait, Krssi, did you predict Imperium or Wagner and?
I said Imperium. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if you asked me, but yeah, say Imperium.
NXT Cruiserweight Championship is on the line, as it will be Roderick Strong defending against Joe Gacy, who is very much not 205 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. This has to do with Gacy feeling the Cruiserweight division body shames and excludes people. So he wants to win the title and make it the all-inclusive championship. So who wins this one here, Miss Krssi Luv? Joe Gacy, as you like to call him, baby Kevin Owens versus
Kevin Owens' little brother. Baby KO.
What do you got, Krssi?
I don't see Baby KO winning this right away as of yet, because he's still greenish, as you guys keep saying this episode. So yeah, I'm going to go that he loses this one. He's not ready to be champion yet. No.
Strong gets the victory here.
Strong gets the victory for sure. Yes.
Jensen?
So where my head's at with this one is, as someone who once again watches 205 Live every week, there's really no point in the show. Like I could see it. There you go. There you go. That's straight up Von Wagner. Like someone tell me like that is not.
I don't see the difference, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see the difference. There is this.
Thank you so much for making us see this, because that's who he is. Oh my god, I can't. No. Oh my god. You have to do a side-by-side, producer. If you could do that, later on, not for this episode, but if we talk about him next week, definitely get a side-by-side.
When Romeo does the clips for this episode, I'm gonna need him to do a side-by-side of Encino Man and Von Wagner, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god, that is so amazing. Wow.
Yes.
Great. Oh man, that's Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll take all the praise in the world. Appreciate it. But like, so 205 Live, there's really no point in the show. Like outside of like being outside of being like kind of like a developmental to the developmental, like somewhere for wrestlers to wrestle before they're on NXT. But there's no need for the 205 limit for that because not everyone's going to be 205 or under that they're going to bring into the system. So I think Gacy will probably win, and then they'll either rename the title or they'll get rid of the title completely. Just because like the cruiserweight title doesn't really seem to serve any purpose. I love Roderick Strong. I think he's one of the best like in-ring wrestlers out there. So yeah, I gotta go Joe Gacy. And it's also funny because all this makes me think of is it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits, X Division style.
Exactly. I think they're gonna do like a never open weight type of shit.
Yeah, I could see something like that. And I haven't seen like hardly anything of Gacy I've seen some of him on 205 Live, but I haven't seen a lot of him on NXT. Although I have heard that he's getting over really well, and the fans do seem to like him. And I do remember him from CZW, but he's much different now. So I'm gonna take Joe Gacy. Like personally, I'd go Roderick Strong. Like if I had to like based on like who I like better in the ring, but I think storyline wise, I could see Joe Gacy getting it done.
Yeah, storyline wise, I think Gacy gets the victory here. I think they're ready to move on from the cruiserweight like era basically, or division completely. So it makes sense for them to put that stamp in the ground that this is the new era by eliminating the title completely, it seems.
I'll ask you a quick trivia question, because if this is like Roderick Strong winds up being the last cruiserweight champion, that'll wind up being a trivia question. You remember who the previous last cruiserweight champion was before they brought it back for the CWC?
Hornswoggle.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Roderick Strong and Hornswoggle will be the final. But NXT War Games is all about the 2-ring steel cage, so let's talk about those two matches.
Oh, that was fast.
That's the greatest thing ever.
Wow, yes. Oh my god.
That's not the side by side, but that's even better though. Good job, team. Romeo, you never disappoint us. You're great.
No, Romeo's not even here. It's Johnny. Great job, Johnny.
Good job, Johnny. I'm so sorry. I apologize, Johnny.
Nailed it.
So sorry.
Nailed it. So good. NXT. NXT Women's War Games matchup is going to be Team Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai versus Io Shirai, Cora Jade, and Raquel Gonzalez and Kaylee Ray, with the advantage going to Team Shirai following the victory by Kaylee Ray on NXT 2.0 this week. These two sides have been feuding since Toxic Attraction basically took all the gold in NXT, with Mandy Rose beating Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship, and Toxic Attraction beating Io Shirai and Zoe Stark.
That's actually a good picture. That's actually really good. It's there. Sorry, my bad.
No, good graphical ones. I'm surprised you're complimenting.
Yeah, finally a good graphic. Exactly. Like they've been very weak with their graphics lately, and this is actually, these women all look great on this graphic right here.
I agree.
Hopefully Dakota Kai doesn't wear that horrible ass wig she wore the other day. Don't do it, please, sis. We gotta get better people back
so
here.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad.
So many talented women in this matchup. Who comes out with the victory here? Let's start with our woman on the case, Miss Krssi Luv. Who wins, Team Toxic or Team Shirai?
Team Toxic for me. I think they are going to be the winners. Even though the other team has they have the advantage. I think Toxic is definitely going to win for sure.
Nicely done. Jensen, what about you?
I'm going strictly off of who I like better in the ring, which is the Gonzalez and Shirai team. Just because I know, Io Shirai is one of my favorite to watch, and I like Gonzalez a lot from what I've seen.
Again.
What was that?
She's gonna jump off the ring and son away.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
That's what she does in War Games.
And like
Yeah.
Kaylee Ray had a great run in NXT UK and stuff. So like I'm just gonna go with the people that I'm just a bigger fan of. So I'll go with the Gonzalez and Shirai team.
I think they need to set up the babyface to be challengers for Mandy Rose, so I'm gonna go with Team Shirai to get the victory here, and that's also based on my prediction for the main event as well. We do have confirmation though; it was Romeo who made that, and I'm. You were right. You were right, Miss Krssi Luv. I apologize. Well done. Well done. Well done, Romeo. Well done.
Give him his flowers. That was amazing, sir.
Yes.
Even Dion Trua had to say that edit though.
Yeah. We will never see him the same now. Thanks.
NXT Men's War Games matchup. It's new school versus old school, or if you were alive in 2000, it's New Blood versus the Millionaires Club, as it will be Team Black and Gold of the NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa teaming up with Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight to versus Team 2.0 of North American champion Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, Tony D'Angelo, and Grayson Waller, with Team 2.0 with the advantage in this War Games matchup. This is basically the story of this whole last couple of months since 2.0 rebrand. There's been certain stalwarts of the old era of NXT that want to live on and continue on the 2.0 era, while the new stars want to move that guard to the side. So this will be the fight to determine that. And this feels significantly, without even having like any tangible stakes, this has way more stakes than anything on the Survivor Series card. So who wins here? Team 2.0 versus Team Black and Gold. I will go with Team 2.0. Braun Breaker getting the victory here. Who do you got, Jensen?
So I'm assuming this is like traditional rules where it's like everyone has to be in the ring and it's just one pinfall or submission at the end, or give up, however they do it. So I think LA Knight takes the pin, because that's like the easiest of that group to lose, unless Pete Dunne's on his way out, which I guess
Dunne. I think Dunne's still going to be in NXT. Maybe he gets called up. Who knows? I think Gargano takes the pin because he's on his way out.
I can see that too. Good call. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But regardless, I think you got to go to the 2.0 team. I mean, like that's where the company's headed, and I don't know why you would do an entire rebrand and then be like, well, the old guys are still better. Like it just seems counterproductive. Braun Breaker, I've seen very little of him. I saw him versus Ciampa. That's really all I've seen. And everyone's talking about him like he's going to be like this big savior of the WWE. Like he could be the one to beat Roman and like all this stuff. And like, I think he shows a lot of potential, but like he's still very green. Like, but I heard he had a really good match on this last Wednesday, that ladder match. I heard
with
was
Gargano,
really good. So I'm going to go back and watch that. I want to be a fan. I'm like everyone else. I wish they called him Steiner. I don't know why they've shied away from that. I'm a huge Steiner Brothers mark. This was like right up my alley. This is a way to get someone like me to watch the show again, where it's like, oh, I get to watch the Steiners. Like this is cool. But like Carmelo Hayes, I loved him on the Indies. Christian Casanova. Grayson Waller, I remember him on the Indies too. He was like Matty Wahlberg or something like that. He was like a Wahlberg brother like gimmick. Because he looks like Mark Wahlberg kind of.
Yeah.
And then Tony D'Angelo, I know nothing about. I just see on Twitter people seem to. I think they're like joking about how awesome
he's ironically over. Because he's so it's totally a 1995 new generation gimmick, but he does it so well and it's so over the top that he has become arguably the most popular of all the 2.0 stars.
So I got to go 2.0 as the prediction just for like the sake of logic, but like I think that they'll get a lot of shine on Braun Breaker. I think he'll be like the focal point of like the whole thing. So I'll go with them.
Krssi Luv, Team 2.0 or Black and Gold?
I want to say Black and Gold, but I know like they want to do this whole 2.0 brand, and this is the way that the company is going with the new guys is now in charge and all that crap like that. So I'm gonna go with the 2.0 Young Buck guys or whatever, because they're clearly like the ones that's the focus of winning this match more. But I don't know why LA Knight is in this group, but whatever.
I
would
agree.
pick someone else.
Strange.
I agree.
I think
that.
he was still out of all of the people that were picked for Team Old School. LA Knight is still fairly one of the new guys too. I mean, he's been there for a while, but I would have not put him
He
with
just came this year though, so
Yeah.
So then there we go. Then there we go. I'm like, he's not one of the originals like Ciampa, Gargano, even Dunn, because Dunn came from UK, but still he's one of the original black and gold, brand guys. So I didn't think LA Knight was a good fit for this group. So
to be fair, did they have anyone else to replace him?
That's what I was about to say.
It should have been O'Reilly. If it's his last show, it should have been Kyle O'Reilly.
Right.
Right, instead of having the tag team. Yeah, that makes much more
But that y'all are totally right about that, because even though LA Knight's wrestled for a while and he had the experience from Impact and NWA and stuff, he comes across and wrestles very much as a generic WWE PC type wrestler, and his promos are very WWE type promos. Like, he fits in more with the 2.0 than he does the old school with the NXT. I'm totally on board with you guys on that for sure.
Indeed, but that is the end of our predictions for War Games for Hard Times 2. I want to thank everyone for joining us live, and of course, thank our special guest, Stephen Jensen, for joining us on True Hill Heat 154. You were excellent, and oh my God, Von Wagner, the Encino man, I will never forget. Please, Steven, let the people know where they could find you on social media, all your podcasts, and everything you're doing in the wrestling media world, sir.
So Krssi just mentioned the hoodie. Y'all can find the Fight Talk podcast merch over at whatamaneuver.net. Just search for the Fight Talk podcast, and I've got a couple different designs on there. You got like t-shirts and hoodies and tank tops, a whole bunch. You got stuff for little babies if you want, the little whatever they call it, little onesie. Yeah. You can get anything you want over there. Whatamaneuver.net. Always make sure to check out Degrassi Dudes, me and SP3 talking about Degrassi. And we're going to branch out into more like real world and road rules type stuff. And we have very similar taste in trashy television shows. So,
nice.
Especially if they were from like 20 years ago. So yeah, check that out. The Fightful Select Weekender podcast. I record that every Sunday for FightfulSelect.com. Talking mainly the world of indie wrestling, but we also do recaps for 205 Live, NXT UK, MLW, NWA, whole bunch of stuff. We do the Ring of Honor show on the Fightful Distraction on Tuesdays. I do my live round show on Tuesdays. Me and Jesse try to do once a week, but obviously with her in the hospital right now, we're unable to do that show. But once again, go to Jessie the Davin on Twitter, go say something nice to her while she's fighting in the hospital. And all things MMA, if you want to check out MMA related YouTube videos that I write and edit and that kind of stuff. That'd be all things MMA. And just stay tuned for everything we do at Fightful. The next big Fightful Fight Night watch along is going to be UFC 269. That's coming up not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And yeah, you got my Twitter on there on the screen. That's really the best place to go. Go to my Twitter at FightTalk_. I always try to put links up for the stuff I'm doing over there. And thank y'all both very much for having me on the show. This was a lot of fun.
Oh man, we had a great time with you, Jensen. I only usually spend Fridays with you, but great to have you on a Saturday here with us. And definitely go out of your way to support Jensen on the Weekender podcast, on the live round show, over on the Distraction YouTube channel. But most of all, 10 a.m. on a Friday. Check us out on the Twitter machine, on Twitch, Degrassi Dudes with Stephen Jensen and SP3, as we are going to continue watching season 1 of Degrassi, The Next Generation. So if you've never seen Degrassi, this is the show to watch because you can get into it. Miss Krssi Luv, though, please let the people know where they can find you until the next time you're here with us.
I am the sensation Miss Krssi Luv. I am here every Saturday morning at 11:05 a.m. with my good brother, Top Guy JJ and SP for True Hill Heat, our top anchor show. Other than that, we do side shows, which is Dark Side of the Ring, SP and I. Now it's not on right now, but you can go back and watch it on our YouTube channel. We've covered all of the seasons, so watch that. You'll have a good time if you didn't get to watch them all. I'm sorry, some alarm is going off in here. But other than that, you can find me on IG, Twitter, and on On Facebook, it is Krssi Luv _1. I just missed Krssi Luv. You can find me as well as on Facebook, which is my name, which is just Crystal Lynch.
And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at True Heel SP3 every Monday and Wednesday over on the Wrestling Daily YouTube channel, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, with Set E Niengi on Mondays, with Mocha Mondays on Wednesdays, with Alex McCarthy over on Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel every Friday, following SmackDown and Rampage on Smack Talk with Rick Ucchino and Dutch Mantel, and right back here, the True Hill Heat YouTube channel every single Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. True Hill Heat 155 next Saturday, our second to last True Hill Heat. So definitely, if you haven't already, go to patreon.com/True Hill Heat. We are already starting our polls for the year-end awards for December 18th, right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. True Hill Heat 156, our 2021 5th annual year-end awards. So we're going to start the voting over on our Patreon, but it will be on our social media pages starting next week. But if you're a Patreon, you get to be the first to vote on our year-end awards. So go over there and check that out. Drop a thumbs up on the video. Share this video with your friends. Of course, subscribe if you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Thank you oh so much, everyone who joined us with us live. Go to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at True Hill Heat. And one final comment from Marcus8915. Degrassi be having some drama on that show.
Degrassi, it goes there.
He nailed it. I put up the alley. He dropped the oop. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, for our special guest, Stephen Jensen, for Miss Krssi Luv, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been True Hill Heat 154 NX-odus. We are signing off until next time.